I'm going to hit it. Okay. Because we like to do it on this. Here we go. Yay, there we are. Hello, everyone. Apparently, according to YouTube, we are live. So sing out in the chat room if you can hear us. We won't be able to hear you singing, but just, I don't know, do an operatic sort of sing out. Oh, I can hear you. Whatever, yeah. Sing it to your favourite death metal band, if you like. Rural growly voice. I could hear you. I haven't seen anyone. Oh, there we go. We got Fat Potato Studio. That's Dean. Big hello to Dean. He can say la la la. So obviously he's hearing us. Beautiful. Okay, so before we get into the main show, obviously we're about 14 odd minutes away from that. I'll tell you guys who are watching right now what happened last week. So absolutely nothing my end was at fault for all the issues that we had with the stream. It was purely an internet service provider problem. So yeah, what could I do? Well, whinge and bleat and send in support tickets during the week, and finally some guy come back to me and said, yeah, we found the problem. It was something our end, so try it now. That was literally their answer. Try it now. We found the problem. And I tried it, and I did a few test streams, and it obviously worked. So here we are now. According to YouTube, it's saying that we're live, and you guys are watching, so that can't be a bad thing. Stream health says, yeah, so it says stream is healthy. It says excellent connection. So hopefully everything's all fixed. Anyway, so that was the story. Whether you guys are interested in IT issues or not, it's kind of pretty important for us as YouTubers that we've got pretty stable internet connections. But even with the massive investment that I've put into the internet connection here, it still goes down. So yeah. Yes, human error. He threw his screen at his synth. Okay. Well, I mean, I often say things around the wrong way all the time, like I'm a fart smeller. But yeah, instead of a smart fella. But yeah, anyway, so we're streaming, and that's the good news. So let's put it all in the past. Anyway, look, if anything goes wrong, just know that we're going to start. Oh, in fact, I'll do it now. I'll hit the record button now. So I'm recording the show at 1080, 60. In fact, what's the stream at, guys? Is it 1080? I think it is, isn't it? I can't remember. It actually says I'm streaming at 1080p. Okay, cool. So you guys, we're back to normal. All right. Big hello to Darren and Andy. So that's all good.
Hi, Rans.
So we've got the old guard in this week. Nothing about them being old or anything. It's just, we'll call it the old guard.
The getting older guard.
Yeah. Feeling older
yeah,
guard.
Very old.
Feeling older guard.
On the last legs.
Still can't shake this bloody cold, though.
Yeah, you've had that one mucking around you for a while, haven't you?
Oh, it's doing me nothing. You know, it really, I mean, last week, oddly enough, you really did me a favour, because I would have been blowing my nose and sneezing every verse end. It was,
yeah.
You know, it had sort of cleared itself up. My sort of Sunday, I did Jamie's stream on Sunday evening, and that was all right. But here I am again after a week back in school, and I'm really sneezing and snuffling and bleh.
Yeah.
Oh dear, not to worry. All parts of our ailments, all our ailments. Andy has the Rona. Andy doesn't have the Rona. Andy's had the Rona jab.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had my jab yet.
Because he's that old. He's been called in. He's been summoned and had a needle stuck in his arm. Which I have to say I'm very grateful for. Thank you very much. Now I feel, as Paul Simon said, shielded in my armour.
Yes, well...
No, don't do anything silly, Andy. There's another 2 weeks before apparently you're immune, so I've got another 2 weeks of sensibleness before I can go wild in the country.
Do they actually have people in the medical industry in the UK saying the same thing as here, where they're saying that they've never seen such low flu and common cold cases ever before? I think, I don't know if it's happening in the UK, but in Australia, they've almost completely eradicated the flu virus.
Yeah, there was a report that the number of cases of of flu, of influenza, real influenza, was well down over this winter than they would normally have expected. And they put that down to obviously the lack of social contact, mixing, the fact that people are wearing face coverings whenever they're in a place where there are other people.
Bit of personal hygiene.
And that, which makes me wonder how on earth I bloody managed to get a cold. What happened to me? I've not been snogging anybody, unfortunately. Never mind.
This is you hanging around those snotty kids all the time, mate. That's what it is.
Well, honestly, we haven't. I haven't at all, because since the end of January, I've literally have been working from home. I haven't been into the school at all until this week.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'll blame it as the lady on the cash desk at Asda. Not that it was really her fault.
She's probably watching the stream, right? She's probably a synth nerd. She's watching the stream right now, and she's about to throw it at the screen in disgust.
Well, there's at least one of There's at least one of the. Yeah, there is at least one other synth nerd that goes to that Asda, because he spoke to me whilst I was buying vegetables. He said, "Are you that guy that's on Ramsey's show?"
Yeah, I remember
that was
you
ages
saying
ago,
that.
actually.
Yeah,
it
weird,
was ages ago. I thought, you what? Yeah, I was buying. Then it was me buying potatoes and being accosted by a synth. Yeah, I thought it was really nice. He said he wasn't one of the people who's in the chat because he watches it on his telly and he can't do that on his. But I fancy being accosted over potatoes.
God, imagine the thought of us being on some large screen TV. That it just really freaks me out, right? I know there's a few people in the chat that actually have big screens.
So if Potato Man is watching, next time you see me in Asda, feel free to say hello again. It'll be lovely.
Big shout out to all the Sheffield people.
Actually, perhaps it was Dean. Fat Potato. Oh, good. Oh no, he lives in Somerset now.
Yeah, no, it's not Dean. We will get Dean back on the show next week. One of the things which was a kind of a casualty of the ISP debacle from last week was I had to. He's got his Pringle copied chips here. That should say you know what, that sticker should say Behringer. It should say Behringer sour cream and chives. So yeah, one of the casualties, as I was saying, is that I had to reduce the number of video calls just in case we had bandwidth issues again. So just restricting it down to 2, and because I kicked pretty much you two off last week, which I felt terrible about. Yeah, you guys got the gong, and Dean dying to come back on, so he'll be back on next week, and yeah, be good. Right, well, anyway, so my daughter's birthday today. Well, actually, technically it's yesterday, but we had the parties and things today. So it's kind
parties. What are they?
Yeah, we're completely out of all restrictions now here. There's completely no coronavirus cases, other than we've got this thing called quarantine, where there's 1 or 2 cases from people who've travelled from overseas, and they're just in quarantine. Yeah, it's crazy. In fact, there's actually a state where I live. There's a state election happening right now. So we went and voted today, and the guy that he's been the premier of our state for the last 4 years. He's been re-elected, and he's not only been re-elected, but he's also his party is literally just grabbed a whole bunch more electoral seats, and it's complete landslide. So it's breaking all these
Well, they've done it right in Australia, haven't they? They've just said, no, nobody's going anywhere. Nobody's coming in. Nobody's going out. Nobody's travelling. Sod off. Just do what you're told and stop questioning it, because it'll be better for everybody. Yeah, it'll be crap, but it'll be better. But here they were wishy-washy for far too long, I think. And the fact that the borders, the borders were never shut, really,
Yeah. I mean, you guys
it's a difficult one.
You guys could have done what we did here, because you're an island as well, so we're an island. You guys could have done exactly the same thing.
We could have done, but it is the problem always is the fact that although we are an island, even though we have jumped out of the European Union now, we're still very, very connected to Europe. That's, and there are people who live in Britain who work in France. Who live in the southeast, who jump on the Eurostar. Takes them an hour and a half, and they're in Paris, and
So
they were, there's a lot of that.
Andy, with our system, even as successful as what it was quite a socialist decision when you think about it. And as a result, there's a massive amount of industries that have completely, literally just fallen off the perch because of the tourism industry in Australia has literally been completely wiped off.
Here, I think all over the world, really.
And and there's also we also had borders, like internal borders, shut down for the better part of a year now. They've only just started to reopen them, so even the internal sort of trade and things like that, it's all been kind of hammered. So look, it's been devastating. So
we were trying to do the best of everything, but it turned out to be the best of nothing.
Yeah, I think you guys were kind of just spinning plates, and all the plates just kind of fell down, didn't they? So they all smashed. Yeah,
that unfortunately.
It's like it was like, look, we're managing to do it, and then it just crashed. It's just like it's a no-win situation, I think. Whichever way you went,
I think it has a lot to do with luck too. I really do. I think there's I mean, you guys have got like three times the population we do here, so if you amplify what we did here by 3 times, the figures look worse as well. So I don't know. I think a lot of it's there's luck involved. There's mismanagement, good management, all sorts of decisions would probably the myriad of stupidness would help if you didn't have such idiots running the show. But we've got idiots running the show here too in various parts of our country. So it could have gone a lot worse. If, for example, if we didn't have the guy that was in charge of our state where I am, if we had the opposition in charge, we would have literally the same situations what you guys have got, because they were more liberal about the whole border control. They would have let people in overseas, everything. They would have done a Donald Trump sort of thing here. So yeah, it's just pure luck. That's what I mean by luck. It's lucky that we had this guy in power. It could have been someone else. So.
Well, it's worked out well. Hopefully, we're through the worst of it now, and things can start getting gradually back to something resembling normal.
What I'd really like to know,
if any of us can remember what that is
are these vaccinations actually working? Like, we don't really know, do we? We're just giving it to people right now.
It seems to be. They seem to be. Yeah, it seems to definitely be having an impact. But again, it just takes time. We'll have to just wait and see.
So are you guys getting the Pfizer one or the AstraZeneca one, or which one are you guys getting?
It depends where you go. They're both being done.
Yeah.
I had...
in fact, actually, we've got third online now.
Right, okay.
Have we? Right, I had Oxford AstraZeneca.
Jensen.
Well, the AstraZeneca one, I mean, you have to space it out by about 3 months, don't you? You have your first and your second, is that right? Or was that the
both of them?
They're both the same.
Both.
Okay.
That's what they decided to do to get more people jabbed.
Yeah.
In one go, because they reckon that the first. Well, it depends. If
that's what you're saying. 94% efficiency. That's pretty good. I mean, you'd have to be pretty happy with that, surely. 94%.
It's pretty high after just the one, which is why they've gone with that, and they're trying to get as many people through with one jab, and then getting round and rolling it out. It obviously takes time, like you said. It's quite a big population.
Well, did you guys hear what the Italians did?
Well, Pfizer's EU, isn't it?
The Italians,
Sorry, say again.
They actually blocked a shipment of AstraZeneca to Australia. We had literally like about 500,000 of these things sitting in a shipping container, ready to go to Australia, and they said, "No, we're going to keep them for ourselves." So we actually paid for them and everything, and they were ordered like 12 months ago, whatever it was, and the Italian government said, "No."
The funny thing is, the Germans, French was all slating the AstraZeneca jab off because they didn't, they was crying about wanting it. And they've got something like 2 million or something sat in their fridges because no one wants to take it.
Yeah.
Because they did such a good job of demoting it, and now they want them to take it.
All right, guys. I'm going to hit the magic button.
They've played politics. Yeah.
I'm going to hit the magic button. We've got like about 30 seconds or something to go. Let's go. I don't know why that went blank, but anyway, does not matter. Let's go like this. Well, hello, welcome to another Saturday, and if this is the first time you've ever seen this show, a big personal hello to you and thanks for joining us. We are doing kind of like synth geeky, nerdery sort of music tech stuff here. And hopefully you can stick around and join us. We have a couple of regular segments. We also have a couple of regular awesome people who join us. So let's start off by saying a big hello to Darren. How's your week been? Tell us what you've been up to. What's that thing above your head?
Yeah, week's been good. Yeah, I'd say it's been good. I've only just managed to I was only just got on the show, to be honest, because I was so carried away doing other things, and I nearly forgot about it. So you're lucky I just got on. What's behind me is the album. It's all written out of the tracks that's going on it, how it's going to look, how it's going to be. So yeah, I'm halfway writing through these tracks. I'm going to need probably double the amount of tracks that I've got on it. So that's the tracks that I do throw off. I'll have a 13, I think. 13's on there. So yes, and there's going to be information on each of the tracks when I've eventually finished it. So if I can get it onto an actual cover, there'll be explanations to each of the tracks, because it's all. If you like space and stuff, then check it out. It's going to be how is it? It's not Jean-Michel Jarre, but it's techno-y, trance, Jean-Michel Jarre, all blended together. So I can't really put a genre on it, but yeah, it'll be very interesting.
So Robert
Miles,
very
good. I hope people will like it.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's
like
good.
Robert Miles.
I don't know. It's my genre. I think. I don't know. It's going to be little bits of everything. So it's
awesome.
Between 128 and 135 beats per minute. The whole album.
Okay, so it's not like crazy fast, but that's probably cool. That's probably cool. Awesome.
No, but I mean, there's some epic tracks that I've half written. The one I don't know if they can see, I can't point to it, but where Hubble is watching there. That's going to be quite a dance floor track, but still space.
Right above your head,
type.
like literally in the center of your head is where that is. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
The one above that, or two above that, is FRB 121102. That's quite a technically hard-hitting one. And then you've got the voices of from the edge of the ever-growing expanse, which is more chilled, and the outer solar cosmic collision. That's an absolute melodic. If you like apps, then you're going to like that one. So yeah, so it's busy.
Has that expanse, has that got any sort of connections to that Amazon Prime series on at the moment, which is actually based on the novel The Expanse as well? Has that got any sort of links to that? Or
it is and it hasn't, should I say? The album started.
It's an orb reference, isn't it?
Expanse. No, it's not. It's a combination between the orb and the Expanse, the actual Amazon Prime thing.
Yeah.
But that's what got me to think about an album. But yeah, so you could say it is in a way.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm hoping to finish it.
Pretty good story, that, isn't it? Have you actually looked at the book?
Yeah. I've not looked at the book, no, because I've only found it. Like I say, I only started at the end of February.
Right.
So,
well, I think that could be another cool topic. I mean, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff in that series. I mean, you've got 5 seasons now to watch. I don't know how far you've got into it, but
I'm binge watching. I'm on the last season.
Oh, wow, you've been quick. Anyway, let's say a quick hello to Andy, because we can't forget about him. Andy, thanks for joining us, mate. How's your week been?
Back in school again. Way.
Yay.
It's been really nice, actually. I've enjoyed it. It's because I'll be honest, I've hated having to do my job sitting it, doing it all via Teams, and that's just not me. So I've not liked it. So it's been nice to be back in. The kids have come in sort of phased. I have noticed though how much less time, is that proper English? I've not been spending as much time sitting in front of this computer, wasting my time watching rubbish on YouTube. There's been a lot less of it, so I haven't caught up with as many things as I might have done in the last few months. But
yeah, right.
So just been noodling about in here. Nothing like as productive as Darren is. I just sort of noodle about and stuff. Been playing with the old modular over there. I'm still waiting for some new modules to arrive. They've taken an inordinately long time, but that's because they didn't have them. So I ordered them and now they're finally coming. Apparently they'll be here on Monday, so that'll be nice. So looking forward to getting those and playing about with them.
It'll be actually be cool actually seeing some of the stuff coming in for you, because I actually don't have anything coming in for a while. So it's like we've swapped roles.
Well, perhaps I have to do sort of an unboxing video of these two. They're only. I mean, it's just the 110 synth voice and the dual envelope generator LFO module. That's what I've ordered.
Yep.
It just means I'll have a 101 type synth in the case alongside that Model D, and be able to sort of just do something a bit more adventurous in terms of proper patching, because at the minute I'm a bit limited in that, because obviously the Model D is a full synthesizer in itself. You don't have to patch anything in it, so I still feel like I'm cheating a bit. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun. I'm going to have to have a complete rethinking here. I'm still trying to work out how best to arrange things. I'm going to take the piano out and put sort of a table in, or whether I put something in that's bolted to the wall on sort of like, you know, what do you call them, brackets like that. Still trying to work out how it'll best work. Not being very practical, and I've got no sort of spatial awareness. I can't see something and visualize what it would look like in a room. I've never been able to do that. So it's always sort of trial and error for me. But,
draw a picture, maybe.
But anyway.
That's a bit of information, Andy, actually. Because hopefully next week I'll have a different view at the back of me.
Ooh.
Ah.
Okay.
Have you done all the building of all the sort of surfaces and things in your actual studio space, Darren? Have you put all that together yourself?
Yeah, everything that's in this studio is hand built, apart from the desk that it's sat on. Well, actually, that was flat pack, so that was hand built as well.
Yeah. Because flat pack I can deal with, but one of the problems I've got down at the bottom here, there's where the central heating pipes go. They're enclosed in a box, and that box is sort of like 6 inches out of the wall, and it cuts so much space.
Yeah, those things suck.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I have the problem on the right hand side where my desk is. We won't go into that because that could be a whole show.
Yeah, well, we won't. Actually, speaking of the show, we probably should get on and say hello to the chatties, because they're here and they're awesome and everything. And big hello to everyone. Thanks for putting up with us last week. I know I had a quick chat to you guys in the pre-show, telling you what it was all about. But for those who are coming along for new, don't worry about what we're talking about. I think Sasquatch was first in, so big hello to you. Synth Addict, big hello. Wayne Murray. Who else we got? Paul Torbett. Hello to you. Inverted Popes jumped on in. Who else? Native VS is there. Future World Machines. Keith from Watford. Big hello to you, mate. JX3D, good to see you. Brett Lemmings. And who else have we got? Scrolling. Human Error. Some guy called Darren T. House. I don't know who he is. The Electronic Composer. Big hello to Dean, I said before. Fat Potato Studio, if you're wondering who Dean is. ASIO Head, Wagoo, big hello to you guys. Max there. Foxy Nirvana's there. Wow, so many people. It's awesome to have everyone here. I think you're all awesome. Failed Muso, big hello to Robbie Pure Chili. Got a couple of things from Robbie this week, so it's good that he's here, because he can have a little chuckle to himself. Atto Z's there. Doke is there. Is it Doak or Doke? Doke 16. Michael B, big hello to you, mate. You're up early. Good to see you. From, if I remember right, Boston in the USA. That's awesome. Did I say Pat Brady? I don't think I did. ASIO Head, I don't think I said. I did say ASIO Head. I did, yeah. I did say ASIO Head. Anyway, look, it's just going on. I'm going to go right down to the bottom. I've probably missed a whole bunch of you. As I say every week, if I have, I think Simon's there, Mike's there, Corrosive Abuser's there. We'll get a couple more in right at the last second, because that's what they all do. He's talking. Inky's there, big hello to you. Grey Wolf's there. There you go, cool. I've got most of you. If I've forgotten you, throw your synth at the screen in disgust, because we can't have that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the topic this week, and we'll get to it in a little bit, is we're going to be talking about the graphic that says it. We're going to be talking about Apple Silicon. So hopefully the way I'm going to attack this is kind of just from a personal journey, and obviously we'll talk about the bigger picture and what's in the future for us, and kind of, you know, is this kind of going to be a platform that us as musicians can use? Because is it really usable right now? I think that's going to be the question. So hold that thought for a sec. Before we start getting serious, let's have a bit of fun. Well, I use the term quite loosely. It might not be that much fun. But apparently at the end of the internet are these things called memes. Yes, I say that every week, but it is true. And I don't know why they keep reappearing on this show. They just happen to magically appear. But anyway, this guy has seen his local shrink, and she's showing pictures of things, and he's just labeling what he feels. And at the end, she's said to him, "You've got serious issues." He says, "Me? You're the one showing all the sexy pics." I don't know if that one's good. That is very clever.
That's funny.
All right. We also have a bit of a COVID joke here, and they just keep coming in thick and fast, don't they? Social distancing guidelines and people who clap on 1 and 3. Yeah. I'm going to release an album where every track is going to have clap on 1 and 3 now, just because of that meme. Right. We also have Johann Sebastian Bach, and we also have Johann Sebastian Front. Geez, that is like the worst dad joke ever, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
How about this one? This one was good. I thought this was clever. We all talk about these meth type synths that we see on the, you know, the scammers. Well, this guy, he's taken it seriously. He's hoping for the Tooth Fairy to help him out, and there comes Nick, the Tooth Fairy. This is so clever, this meme. And then afterwards, he's got a nice, big, clean-looking white smile. Hey, look at that! And we talk about these terrible-looking synths that we see all the time on Price Watch. That's how you fix it, guy. You need to put your broken key under your pillow, and it's all sorted. What was the worst or the best meme this week, guys?
Yeah, but I did that with my broken Pro 1 key, and it didn't work.
You were hoping it would, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah. You
The
might
first
be.
one, I think.
I've still got the broken bit. I've still got the broken key, in the vain hope that one day it might simply reattach itself whilst I'm not looking. But
Is it still under your pillow?
no, it's in the junk drawer back there.
That might be the problem. See, it's not in the right place.
Yeah.
But I think like we're getting to our age now. We probably should start moving on from the Tooth Fairy. It's probably about time we started looking at other ways. Sorry,
yeah, we've moved on from Tooth Fairy, and now we're stuck in Rorschach tests, aren't we? That's what we see synths and everything.
Fair enough. All right, we do have some news, so let's get stuck into that. There's not a lot, so that's good news, I guess. Interesting thing about these shows that we're all watching this, you know, Friday show, a Wednesday show, a Saturday show, a Sunday show, we're all kind of starting to show the same news. And I'm kind of quite aware of this, you know, when I do my show. So I kind of don't really want to show the same stuff. But there is another element to it where sometimes it's worth showing because the comments and the the discussions that we have about that particular news item may actually be worth listening to. So if you do see something and you think, oh, I've already seen this, that's the reason why we're showing it. It's more for the discussion point of it. So anyway, we'll start with, if this button works, we'll start with this one. So Native Instruments and iZotope. I actually kind of was quite surprised to actually even know that there was a connection between these two companies, because I mean, the way I understood it, I thought iZotope were a US-based company, and I can't remember where, but in somewhere in the US, and Native Instruments were a German company, as far as I knew. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but they've kind of, well, let's call it joined forces in a new technology group, and I think there's a company called Francisco Partners, who own the majority of Native Instruments, have partnered with another company called EMH Partners, and they're going to work together. This is the bit that I think is interesting. So think about what Native Instruments are bringing to the table software-wise and hardware, and think about what iZotope are bringing to the table software-wise, and now think, wow, if these guys started banging heads together, what is the possibilities, and that's basically why I've brought this up. So let's actually grab this. This is on the Gear News website. I thought it was quite interesting, actually. In fact, we can turn, if we turn actually the audio off, and we don't hear that. There we go. Yeah, I just kind of, this was on the Gear News website. I just thought it was quite kind of interesting because they mentioned both CEOs. You got Mark Ethier or Ethier, I don't know, I think it would be Ethier, the founder and co-founder of and CEO of Isotope, and Konstantin, you can pronounce that there, Andy. Konke? Kernke? Well, I was close. I was close.
Not far off.
He's the CEO.
Just 2 syllables. Kernke.
Yeah, he's the CEO of Native Instruments, and so they're becoming. They're still going to have the separate companies and the separate brands, but basically what it means is that they're going to share the same mission and inspiration, and they're going to share sort of ideas and things like that, and kind of joining forces brings them a step closer to fulfilling a shared mission to empower producers with everything they need. It's a pretty bold statement, with everything they need. But anyway, you never know. These people like to have goals and aspirations. I don't know, guys, what do you think about this news? I mean, we all probably have touched one of these companies at one stage in our music production days, right?
No. Yeah.
Darren,
yes,
go first.
Isotope, yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I use Isotope, Ozone and things like that. I'm not sure. In one respect, I think it's a good, it's good. And some good stuff can come out of it. And then I sort of have this niggly feeling that maybe no. I don't want anything to start going subscription services here, and I don't know. I don't actually know what's going to happen. So I'm sort of sitting on the fence. I wouldn't say, yeah, this is great, but then I wouldn't say it's bad neither. So I think we'll have to wait and see what comes about. So yeah, I'm not so sure about it. And like I say, I'm not down on the idea. I think it could be good. They could come out with if they're collaborating together, could be really good. But then on the other hand, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the same sort of feeling I had as well. The fear of the subscription model. Yeah,
because I know I don't want to be locked into something on Isotope, for instance, and then suddenly find out it's a bit sort of Native Instruments-y where you've got to keep updating it every time it gets to number 10, number 11 or whatever, or they do go down a big subscription route, because I can't stand that. So I think it's a wait and see. There's good things to be had, but let's hope they go the good way and not start cheesing us all off.
Yeah. I was reading a forum and someone mentioned this in a forum. I can't remember which forum it was. Sorry if whoever said this is in the chat now and they've put your hand up. But they said, wouldn't it be a shame if, for example, Native Instruments put the Isotope, what do you call it, that Isotope plugin, Ozone, as a way of improving the sound of one of their software synths without us actually knowing that algorithm was in there. And that completely has changed the dynamics and shaped of all their sounds, because I know there's people out there that actually can't stand what Ozone does. I'm not being critical myself because I use Ozone sometimes, but I just think it's one of those considerations. You never know, they might actually start adopting some of these algorithms, and vice versa. These two companies are now going to be butting heads. Andy, what do you think about that?
Well, I don't really know enough about Native Instruments. Never really having been that interested in all the sort of computer-driven side of synthesis. It's not something that I've ever got into. I'm not dismissing it or poo-pooing it. I just haven't. The Isotope stuff has interested me for a long time, but not as anything that I was likely to rush out and buy until it became something I was going to find useful. So, for example, if and when I ever get to the point where I've got a whole bundle of tracks that need put into it, like Darren's doing with his album, getting it all together and then mastering it properly, as far as my limited skills would go, I think something like that would be extraordinarily useful. So I'm quite interested in Isotope and Isotope's software, um, but whether a collaboration between the two companies is going to yield good things or whether it's going to just weaken the two, I think, like Darren said, it's just a wait and see, really. I mean, it could be really really good, couldn't it? But I know so little about it that it would be wrong of me to speculate further. So
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of, well, I guess it's wait and see, but you never know. Sometimes these mergers can bring out some cool things. You never know. They might bring out a product that we haven't even thought of. So that could be, the result of this. We should probably move on to the next news. There's not a lot of news, so don't worry. We should probably move on to the next one. And that is, I think this is actually kind of cool news. And that is that Superbooth is going to happen this year, 2021. And I kind of think a lot of us thought that maybe it wasn't going to. And I know you guys probably already know this. So this is more just a discussion about this bit of news. But they're calling it the Safety First Edition. And they're doing it for a good reason, I guess. But let's have a little look at their website. And it's basically, what it's saying is that I think the things to remember here is, A, it's really good news that Superbooth is going to go ahead, because that's actually good news for the developers of hardware and software and all the things that get shown at these events. It really does help them get products out there, especially some of the smaller people. The kind of smally bad news about this is they're saying that because it's a Safety First Edition, they may not be able to fulfill all the ticketing requests that they usually get, because it's a pretty popular event. And as a result, they're going to have restrictions on exhibitions. There's so many spelling mistakes in this article, it's funny. On floors within the buildings and reduced, so they won't have as many exhibitors, they won't have as many people allowed to go in. But I think if we're all kind of adult about this, I think we'd be okay with that, right? I think it's a pretty cool thing to allow. This is a great event. It's a pretty cool thing to allow that sort of thing to go ahead. Guys, what do you think about that news about Superbooth? Is that cool, or what do you think?
well, let's hope it goes ahead. I'm hoping that Synthfest will go ahead. That's my personal hope. Superbooth in September, Synthfest in October. Everything coming together all at once. I think it's good that they're trying to make it happen. It's definitely a positive thing. People from the UK, you better start booking your visas now, because we might not be allowed in.
15th to the 18th of September.
Who knows what the EU is going to do with regards to letting Brits into the EU for whatever reasons. I mean, it's a bit sad, but they could use coronavirus as a reason for saying we can't, or make it so difficult to get. I don't know. Well, yeah, if it's possible to go, yeah, it would be brilliant. I quite fancy it. It's the wrong time of the year for me. I won't be able to go in September at all, because I'll be at work. But it's very positive. Let's hope it can go ahead, but it'll have to go ahead under the right circumstances, as is common sense, I hope.
Yeah, they might make you quarantine because you're not a member of the EU anymore. That could be. Yeah, you might have to go there 2 weeks earlier and quarantine for 2 weeks, twiddling your thumbs in some dingy Berlin hotel.
Well,
we'll see.
Quite happily spend 2 weeks in Berlin, thanks. But not in a dingy hotel room.
I mean, you're not going to be able to, I don't know if you know what quarantine means. It means you're locked in there, you can't go anywhere. So it's probably not really the sort of holiday in Berlin that you might be thinking of.
No.
Yeah. But anyway.
Or sitting on a Berlin park bench.
With your Bastel.
Yeah, by the side of you.
We've got to bring that one out every show, aren't we, Darren? Yes. All right. Well, the other news that came in, and I was kind of a bit reluctant to show this, but I think because it's out there on all the sites that are doing news, I can show it. And I think there's no real harm in doing this. And that is this new MRCC from Conductive Labs. Now, we have actually shown this before. I think it was way back in 2019, a long time ago, when this was kind of like an idea, a prototype, and they released a YouTube video. And these are the guys at Conductive Lab. Now, I'm actually going to show you the same video that I showed way back. But what I want you to do is have a look at this, and then wait till you see the video prototype, which I'm going to switch to now, and then you'll see exactly what I mean. Look at the difference. So it's come a long way from this prototype. I mean, the layout of the DIN plugs and stuff like that is all pretty similar, but the actual design in the end, it looks pretty good. Anyway, if you're wondering what this is a MIDI routing control center, basically. It features 6 MIDI ins, which includes 5 DIN sockets. You'll see them on the, in fact, we'll get the graphic back up because I think it's a better way to see it. So you can see the 5 DIN sockets, and you also get 2 TRS type A and B sockets. That's why you see the 2 3.5mm. This is on the top left-hand corner of this. Then if you move sort of left to right as I'm talking, you will see what I'm talking about. That next section is all these USB type A, and these are multi-directional. So these USB sockets are for, you know, any sort of instrument that uses USB-based MIDI. So it can be in or out, or both in and out. And there's 4 of those. Plus there's also a USB type B connection there, which is the host port. So this is actually a USB host device as well. Now on top of that, there are another 12 MIDI outs on the right-hand sides, and including in that 12, there's 10 DINs and 2 TRS type A and B. And there's also this optional thing, they don't show it in this graphic here, but there is an optional thing they're going to offer called the MIDI out extender, which offers another 5 DIN ports via an Ethernet cable. And there'll be more information about that coming out in the next week or two. The whole system is a MIDI matrix, which means that you'll be able to route anything from anywhere that's connected to this, whether it be MIDI device, MIDI channel. It's literally, and there's a whole bunch of other bells and whistles in here. And it's got its own preset system, its own firmware. It's completely standalone. It's also rack mountable. Let's have a little look at the video anyway. So see what Steve talked about way back. Now I need to turn volume on so we can hear it.
MIDI Router Control Center, or MRCC. You know, at Conductive Labs we did the noodler, and the way we invented that is we just kind of do and invent what we need. We needed that device to play our synthesizers for us, and so we made that. And so the next project we're working on is a MIDI router, and we sat back and we said, well, what would be the ultimate router in our music rooms? And so that's how we come up with this. Wanted to share a little bit about our design thinking and then walk through some of the features. So we kind of reimagined what a MIDI router would be. You know, we use the modern CPU power that's available now, that's very inexpensive, but we also have a lot of the old MIDI routers in our studios that we loved that had a 1 button per jack input, and we wanted to merge the idea of having a lot of CPU strength and the flexibility and ease of configuration right on the device, and not having to need a PC to do the configuration. And this is what we came up with. We're also
Muted, Rans.
Muted.
Sorry, drink everyone. I just said we'll stop the video there for a sec because it goes on for about another 5 or 6 minutes. Go check out the video if you're interested in that. It's on the conductivelabs.com website. Now, some information about this before we get stuck into questions about it. It's available now for pre-order. They'll say that they'll start shipping in April. It's $379 US at the moment. You can get it through either their Kickstarter campaign, which is finished, but you can still order through there, or their website. So definitely go check it out. It is definitely rack mountable. The actual device can be, I'll go back to that graphic again. It can be sat as a desktop like that, and also you can get rack ears for it. It's not fully 19-inch in width there, but with the rack ears it is, okay? So that does answer the question for JX3D. Guys, want to have a quick comment about the MRCC?
These things are always
I was
useful,
with you
aren't
when
they?
we first looked at the plastic.
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely.
And I like it. I like it. And if it's going to be 19-inch rack mountable, that's even better. It looks good. Well, I do like it. It's like I said when we first seen it when it was in its early stages. I think we said that we quite liked it then. We couldn't wait to see what it'd be like when they've actually finished it, and now they seem to have done. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
Yeah.
Not overpriced neither.
Not for what it does, no. And I think a lot of people will probably, as information on this will start to come out, I think a lot of people will start to realise this is actually a pretty handy bit of kit to have in your studio. Andy, I know you've shown your MIDI thing before.
Yeah.
Does this kind of excite you to know that this has kind of got what
I think
that
it's
does?
really interesting.
Yeah.
I do. Excuse me. Oh, I apologise, everyone. I still haven't got over this bloody cold. Yeah, it does interest me. I've shown it before, the Kawai 4x8 sort of MIDI matrix patch bay that I have just here in my little rack, which I've had for years and years. I mean, it cost me next to nothing in a second-hand shop, and it's been brilliant. But like a lot of these bits of gear, it's quite old, and whether it'll keep going is, it does a great job. But of course, it's pre-USB and all of that. I mean, the USB wasn't even thought of when this was out. So something that's more modern, that's got USB in it and can cater for those silly little MIDI jack things that are on Electribes and other bits of gear. That, yeah, absolutely, it might make absolute sense. I was wondering, I've got a question, is does it actually have any form of analog clock out?
It does. Yes.
That's really interesting. You know, that is an interesting, so that you can address something with just an analog clock and send a clock pulse to you.
So on the, I don't know if you can see on the graphic on the right hand side, and it's the second second label up. It's on the side of the actual unit. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. There's two. What, the 11 and 12 ones? Are they analog clock? Are they? Yeah. Are you sure you don't have man cover? Stop it, human. Flu.
I've just got a bit of an itch. I just need to.
I've
just got a bit of an itch.
You just set that up, Rans.
Whoops. I've got to put that away. I'm not supposed to show that. Oops. Okay, so nothing to see here.
Those are your non-disclosures. You're going to get shut down now.
No, I haven't said anything.
Screen's going to go blank any minute.
I haven't done anything. Nothing wrong. I've just accidentally scratched myself. We all accidentally scratch ourselves from time to time. It's not a bad thing. Just don't make it a habit. Right, okay.
You just had to scratch that itch, didn't you, Rans? You just had to scratch that itch.
More information will be coming very, very soon for people, let me tell you. I can't tell you any more than what I've shown you, because that's all that's available publicly right now. But please go ask your questions to Conductive Labs. They're more than happy to talk about it. Right, okay. We've finished the news. Now, I thought, why don't we do Price Watch this week? We've got an interesting thing happening right in the middle of everyone doing Price Watch each week, and that is that there's an auction happening. I don't know if you guys have been following social media, but we'll get into Price Watch in a sec. But I thought, let's roll the stinger, and we'll come out of the other end, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, okay, world's longest stinger. Right, okay, so before we get stuck into our normal scammy, sort of cool, funny things that we do, I thought I'd show you this. We obviously have an auction happening right now, so I took a screenshot of when it started, and that is, there's the Yamaha CS80, and that starting bid was £10,000. So I took that screenshot a few days ago, and the auction is still currently running. So then I think the next day I went in and took another screenshot, and you can see that the price has now grown to £14,000. And but while we're at it, I thought, why don't we actually look at the live website and have a look what is actually happening? And we're now up to £17,000. I probably should refresh that actually to see if it's actually grown. There's still 9 days left on the auction. And I do believe there is a reserve. I don't know if it's £20,000, but that was kind of a hint of £20,000 in some of the articles that were written about this. So they're not getting far away from this. I don't know. We should have a little sort of friendly bet on this. What do you guys reckon this will go for in pounds? What do you reckon that is in 9 days' time? What do you reckon the end bid will be? Could be interesting, hey?
Oh, it'll be high. I mean, if it's already up to 17,000, it's going to go up a bit more. There'll be somebody out there who's desperate, who's got the money, who's willing to pay for it.
Yeah, it hasn't grown.
I mean, it's coming from Soundgas. I mean, one of the things is if it's one of Soundgas's own, I mean, they do a lot of restoration and all sorts of stuff of their synths. So I suspect, you know, it'll be in good working order. How long they stay in good working order, though, that's always my question about things like this. You know, they don't travel very well either. So by the time you've actually shipped it to wherever it's being shipped to, and who knows where it's coming from? I mean, Soundgas is based in Derbyshire, here, not far from me.
Right, okay.
So, but where it will end up is anybody's. It could be anywhere in the world. By the time it's been shipped halfway across the world to some guy's studio in Perth, Australia, then it might. Will it still be in tune? Will it still work? Will one of the voice cards have gone out? Who knows? Actually,
Simon's, yeah.
Simon, have you put in a bid? I just wondering.
Just waiting for that little bubble to pop up. There we go. £32,000 is Simon's.
32K.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
32K. You might. Ooh.
So it's up to.
I'm not living it for that.
What did I say? It was 17.9. It's up to 17.9 quid now. So we'll keep an eye on it during the show. What do you reckon? It'll be a bit of fun. Let's get back into the price watch segment because Robbie's probably dying to see his. But sorry, Robbie, you're not first. We're going to show this one first because I think this one was pretty cool. No, this is not in any particular order of what's cool and what's not. I just thought this was pretty cool. Yes, an Oberheim, OBXA. We've been talking about a lot of Oberheim synths lately, and I thought, wow, look at this one. This one does not even work. It doesn't work. Now, I know someone might argue and say, well, maybe it does, but read it. It says, consignment sale, does not power up, missing knobs, left wood. I don't know what left wood means, but yeah. Nearly £4,000 plus another nearly £500 for economy. I mean, you could have gone with gold-plated delivery, but economy delivery. Yeah, what do you guys reckon? Is that a good sale? Is that a good deal?
No.
Doesn't even work. What are you going to do with it? It's like it's a doorstop. Come on.
You buy an OB6.
People, why like it? Stop this gear collecting rubbish. Like seriously.
It's a beautiful. I mean, even in a tatty state. I mean, an OBXA is a beautiful thing. We all know that. It's a wonderful, beautiful synthesizer. But there's got to start being some common sense, and I think the same is true with the CS80. I mean, the CS80 is probably rarer still than the OBXA. But come
people
on.
have just got to stop doing
Let's start being realistic about this.
I mean, look,
are you really that desperate?
You've probably got a car payment or a rent bill to pay, or maybe a couple of bills, and you're going to go and buy this. I'd be very, very interested to see if someone buys this. But anyway, let's go to the next one. This one is almost just as bad, but this one actually, I believe, works. I believe this one works. This is another TR99. This is in Australian dollars. Halve it for pounds. What are we looking at? £12,500. It's getting ridiculous. It is a drum machine. Yeah, it's just getting ridiculous. And you can even see below it's got price guide, like 3,000.
It's just
to 5,000.
It's just offensive.
Like that is just absolutely ridiculous. So these are, I believe, these qualify as scams. I'm sorry, whoever's selling that, you might feel you're justified in charging that, but I believe those two.
Yeah, but hang about.
Ooh, hang about. Okay, yep, go.
Yeah, I'm sort of going to get with these scams. Are they scams really? Because if you're daft or willing enough to pay that much for it, you must know what you're actually getting. People who are paying 25 grand for a synth, a drum machine, or anything must know or have some inkling what that synth or drum machine is. And if they're willing to spend that ridiculous amount of money, you know, it's each to their own. I mean, I'd never spend that much on anything. Well, I couldn't anyway if I wanted to. But yeah, I'm not sure where they are scans now, because you've got to know what you're buying. It's not like it's some, you're spending that much money. You know what you're buying. You've searched the item, and let's face it, 25 grand. You must know a lot about the item anyway. So, is it a scam, or is it just that people are willing to pay that ridiculous amount of money?
Well, I mean, it's not a scam in the natural sense of a scam, but it's a scam if someone's actually been scammed out of that sort of money for one. That's what I mean.
Max just said this is why Andy keeps his knackered Pro 1. Maybe maybe I should actually put my knackered Pro 1 up on eBay or Reverb or Facebook Marketplace or for with the price tag of £2,000.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was going to be a bit more modest and say £2,000 and see if anybody with a broken kit.
Go crazy.
Broken bit included, and see what happens.
Go crazy. All right, Robbie.
Not left.
Robbie, the wait is over, mate. It's here. Here it is, mate. One. Here it is. The Yamaha DX100. It arrived on the show. It's got a beautiful case. Look at that case. Doesn't that just sing it?
The case has got to be worth something.
Yeah, £5. But yeah, 1,000 Australian, 500 quid. I know the DX100 is not the most favourite FM synth out there. It's yeah. Robbie was very, very, very happy to show me that one. But that's not all. That is not all. Ring now, we get a free set of state. No, ring now, because you can also get a DX200. These are those groove boxes that they brought out at the start of, was it the end of the 90s or the start of the 2000s? Anyway, somewhere around there. These are an FM synth. They're modelled after I've actually got the AN200, which is like Darren's AN1X, except half the voices. They're actually a lot of fun, these. I don't know if it's £1,000 fun, but I'm out of luck here, guys. It doesn't post to Australia. I'm completely out of luck. But yeah, DX200 for £1,000. Look, for £2,000, you guys can get yourself into quite a bit of DX love here. You can have a DX100, well, not even £2,000, £1,500. DX100, DX200. There you go. In fact, I think one of those auctions is finished. So
25 quid for it.
They're fun. They're always fun. Okay, let's have another look at our auction and see if it's gone up at all. I'll just click the refresh button here. Come on. We want the bid to go up. It's still sitting just under £18,000. We want it to click over to 18,000. Someone go and bid on it. Go on bid. Come on. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Rand's told me to bid, and now I'm stuck with a £20,000 debt. Yes. Anyway, that's the end of Price Watch. We have made it to the end of the show. Let's see what the chatties are saying, because they always have some nice things to say. Yes, look at that. 100 times better than a DX1. Yeah, good one. Good one. Synth Addicts has got both of them. Good fun. Yeah, I got mine pretty cheap. I think I paid about 150 US for my AN200 way back, like 2013, 2014 sort of days. They're a bit more now. So yeah. Yeah. Go buy the DX100 if you love it. Okay, let's get stuck into our topic. Let me just double check to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Oh, I did forget one thing. I did. And I kind of just wanted to insert this now. Do you guys see this? This was a post by our buddy here, Jean-Michel Jarre. To me, the original VCS3 synthesizer is like the violin. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Stradivarius or Stradivarius? Anyway, so if you guys don't know what a Stradivarius is, it's like a really sought after violin, I believe, right? So his point is, good little discussion point, and we can sort of have this going on while I get ourselves ready for the silicon discussion. But is this like a thing of beauty? Is this like a very amazing machine? I mean, he thinks it is. That's his personal opinion. But what do you guys think? Is it a Stradivarius? Is it in that territory? What do you think, Darren? Are you a VCS3 kind of guy?
I'm not, so... Well, I can't say I'm not. I'd love one. I don't know. Is it... I'm not... I suppose if he thinks it is, I mean, who am I to say if Jean-Michel Jarre thinks it's like a Stradivarius? So, I don't know. To me, it wouldn't be, but that doesn't mean it isn't.
Yeah. Andy? Stradivarius?
Well, the Stradivarius, the violins. I mean, there's obviously it was one bloke in a workshop in whatever village in Italy making these violins in the 1700s. There aren't very many of them, and that's why they're expensive. They were revered at the time as the best violins, and they've continued to be revered. Violinists are going to know the sound of a beautiful instrument in the same way that a guitarist will know the sound and the feel of a beautiful instrument. And I think the same is true of any instrument. Why should synthesizers be any different? There are very few VCS3s compared to, say, D50s or DX7s or M1s or Korg micro Korgs. For example, they're 10 a penny, those machines, in many ways. But the VCS3 is rare. It's an original. It's one of the pioneering machines. It's a machine that was instrumental in the course of electronic music, and for that reason, it's justly revered and has a valid place in the history of musical instruments of any type. So I'm not going to argue with Jean-Michel Jarre's assessment of that at all. It's an important historical musical instrument in its own right.
Yes. Well, who played it better? Did Doctor Who? Was it who played the VCS3 better? I think he's probably up there, isn't he? I think he did a pretty good job. I think Pink Floyd did a pretty good job with On the Run.
Pink Floyd were pretty close. Yeah. Tangerine Dream had a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was
over early Tangerine Dream.
I'll just show that graphic again. I just thought that was I thought that was an interesting comment. You don't often hear people talk about synthesizers in that sort of walnut polished furniture sort of type analog sort of sounding acoustic sounding instruments, do you? So yeah, but
well, it's interesting, but they weren't they? All those early synthesizers were housed in the most beautiful cabinet. The VCS3 is a beautiful piece of kit. The Moog modulars, and some of them were available in rosewood and walnut and all these. You could specify
mahogany,
which sort of cabinet you wanted.
Yep.
I think they are beautiful musical instruments in their own right. And of course, these very early ones, these pioneering devices. I mean, I remember mentioning actually it will be coming up to. Oh no, when was it? It was about August last year. Yeah, August. My brother and I went to the Design Museum in London. The museum they had an exhibition on. It may even still be running. I don't know. It was called From Kraftwerk to Chemical Brothers, and it was sort of an electronic music exhibition. And they'd got a display. One of the first things you walked through was like the history of electronic music. So they'd got Ond Martineau, they'd got theremins, they'd got Hammond organs, they'd got Fender Rhodes pianos, and VCS3s, mini Moogs, Moog modular. They'd even got a synclavier one, the original synclavier, and in a special display to the side, they'd actually got Jean-Michel Jarre's own machines. So they'd got Jean-Michel Jarre's 2500 from ARP. They'd got his Eminent, VCS3, all sorts of bits and bobs, which were Jean-Michel Jarre's in there, displayed in a museum. These historic artifacts, almost. That's why I say they're important instruments in themselves. Those machines which define the course of electronic music really are worthy of places in museums. I mean, someone was saying, I heard a comment, was it something like some particular instrument should be in the Smithsonian? I've forgotten which one it was now. Anyway, the Moog modular should be in the Smithsonian or whatever if it isn't already there. You know, I think it's worthy. You know, it is worthy. It's a worthy statement.
Well, speaking of things that have been encased in wood, we're going to go across to the Apple Silicon topic now. That completely had no segue at all. I'm actually having a bit of a look here at the Mac Rumors website. Now, this is a really kind of good entryway into talking about whether we as music producers are ready to sort of jump into the Silicon, the M1s, these sort of, not the Intel. We're not talking about the Intel Macs. We're talking about the Silicon Macs. Now, we've probably heard news that Apple were planning on releasing bigger MacBooks towards the end of this year. So this article is saying that they were going to release it in the second half of 2021. According to Nikkei Asia report, they're saying that it's probably more likely to be delayed until the second half of the year, sort of maybe eating into 2022. But I think the more important thing is to look at this picture here. One of the things that we're going to be happy to see back again is the SD card reader, because I think a lot of us who have used things like Zoom recorders and cameras and things like that, we were just getting so sick of the dongle, and to actually have an SD card reader is in the side of your MacBook again is going to be cool, and also the HDMI port. And the other thing they were talking about too is there's going to be faster sort of processors with this lot too. It's actually not written in this article, I don't think, but they were talking about like double the amount of cores in these new MacBooks that are coming out. So this may be an idea about hold off. If you're sort of wanting a bit of a better sort of speedy sort of machine, there may be a bit of a hold off idea here. But anyway, what I thought we'd do, and what you've been actually looking at, believe it or not, every time I've been showing those websites, that is actually on my Apple Mac Mini that I've just bought, which is actually an M1. And I'll just jump over to my desktop so you can have a look. You can have a look at a photo of my little boy there. So there it is. This is the M1. If you've never seen one, well, now you're looking at it right now. This is the new Big Sur operating system. A little bit different looking to the other ones, I think, but yeah. Now my little Mac Mini is the best I could get in terms of memory. So the most you can get on this, and everyone's probably scratching their head thinking, wow, only 16 gig of memory? That's not a lot. Like, how does that work? Well, kind of, it isn't, but it is. So the way these chips work is the memory is actually now kind of integrated with the processor. So I'm trying to talk as layman as I can so you guys can understand. I don't want to get too I know there's guys in the channel that are very technical and they want me to talk more technical, but let's just keep it layman's. The whole point of the way Apple are doing it is basically if the memory and the graphics and everything kind of all talks at the same sort of chip level, then the sharing of data between these different devices is doesn't require extra memory, it doesn't require extra processing power and things like that. It makes things actually work a bit more efficiently. So as a result, you're actually going to get more advantages by having this sort of architecture. So that's where you're getting the speed performance that these guys are talking about. So there's some really, really pluses with this. So why did I get a Mac Mini? Well, I had a Mac Mini before, and you guys probably might remember a couple of weeks ago I was talking about how it was crashing all the time. This one hasn't crashed yet, touch wood. Anyway, so 16 gig of RAM at the moment was all you could get on this. I've just got the 512 gig hard drive. You can actually go up to I think a couple of terabytes on these. I don't need a massive hard drive. You can see I've got a whole bunch of hard drives connected in the background here. And that's how I store all my stuff on it. But, okay, so that's kind of the good side of it. And the other good side of it too, I guess, is that we've got Roland Cloud running on it. And I think I showed that last week when I was actually showing the JD800 and things like that. So that's actually running. But there's a couple of things that aren't good about this. And I'll just get these set up while you can look at my ugly mug. So I think I mentioned last week about the FireWire issue. So there's a lot of us that have got USB or Firewire or all these other devices, and we're gonna just want them to work. And I guess half the problem is the question about whether is that going to actually work. And this is kind of where we're going to lead to with the next part, and that is you need to go to your manufacturer's website and see if they've actually made an article about it. So here is a compatibility page on Arturia's website, and basically if you read it, it actually says, we are actively working on the M1 certification. We recommend you refer to this page regularly, but at the moment, Arturia products are not fully tested on computers with Apple silicon processors. So that's from Arturia. And so a lot of the manufacturers are doing these websites, and you're probably thinking to yourself, so maybe it's not the right time to go across yet. You're probably right, it's probably not the right time. But there are examples of where manufacturers have actually got on board with it. So I showed before Roland. If you actually go to Roland's, it depends on the product you're trying to connect, but for example, if you look at, say, I've got a Roland Rubix 24 sitting right here, which is a audio interface. And if we actually go back to here again, you can actually see if I click on the little volume control, you can see that is actually my audio interface there, the Rubix 24 connected. You can also see my MX1, which is my, so Darren, you can see the MX1 has been working. Now the MX1 kind of works and kind of doesn't. So it doesn't work as a operating system level sound card, but it does work in my DAW perfectly. So I can use it in Ableton, and I can hear everything that Ableton's playing through the back end of my MX1, but I can't actually use my MX1.
Can I ask you a question now?
Yeah.
Is Ableton running through Rosetta, or is it actually? I've not checked up.
Ableton runs through Rosetta. Yeah, Ableton runs through Rosetta. I'll launch Ableton for you guys. Yeah, because it's still Intel based. I don't actually know even if the 11 has. As you can see it loading now. Now, one thing to notice that don't worry about that. I haven't changed it yet. One thing to notice is that the Intel-based applications actually aren't too bad. They actually do boot up pretty quick. It's the Rosetta is the virtual platform to run sort of into, you know, the Intel-based stuff. But if we go into here, I can actually change that to the MX1. So you can see the MX1 is working fine through here. So that's actually good. So Roland have been pretty quick on getting stuff over across. And I showed last week the the VST stuff as well. So yeah, and look, the Rosetta thing. If you're ever wondering what that is, you guys heard Darren mentioning it, and I'm just mentioning it. It's like Apple's loaded a little virtual platform on their silicon chip, so it can run Intel-based code because it's not an Intel-based chip. So it needs to be able to understand like and it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of a bad thing because it's a bottleneck. You've got to have software running software, if that makes sense. Whereas in most cases, software will just run directly on the hardware. So we do want people to go out there and write for Apple, because people who are going to go across to the silicon platform are going to want to make use of those new features that I was talking before about the hardware benefits and that. And so I do believe, I haven't done a massive amount of research on this, but I do believe Ableton are already on top of this. I don't know what stage they're up to. Someone in the chat might be able to tell us, because they're probably more connected with Ableton than I am. But if you do things like, if you use things like Adobe, or however you would say it, things like Photoshop, and there's actually already betas out there for those software that run on silicon, and I believe it's within the next few weeks they'll be releasing the full Adobe suite on silicon. So there's companies that are really, I mean, they've been out since what, November last year. So this company's really been working hard. Now let's go back to, I just wanted to show you, because I've had some issues, all right? And I wanted to show you where I've had my issues too. Currently got a support ticket in with this company. This is not a blight on them at all. So don't think I'm ear bashing them, because I actually love Presonus stuff. I think they're really, really good. But I'm having major dramas with their gear. And half of it is because I've got a pretty old Studio Live 16.02 mixer. I love that mixer. Like, don't get me wrong, it's actually a great mixer. There's probably some issues with it, but the issue I've got with Presonus is that I've tried to install their Firewire drivers, and it just won't take. In fact, they actually talk about here how it's been supported, and they talk about using the Rosetta emulation platform and everything here. They also talk about their Thunderbolt products here, and I'm so lucky I didn't go out and buy a Thunderbolt audio interface, because I was literally about to buy one at the end of last year, and I'm glad I didn't, because they're still not kind of working yet. So I just want to show you, I'm going to get up what the issues you get. If you go into, sorry, I'm not showing the right screen, am I? If you go into your system report in the Mac, and then you go into this little section down the bottom called disabled software, it's just here, right? Click on that. And I just want you to have a look here. There's two pieces of hardware that or software drivers that are not working. And one of them is critical for my Presonus mixer, and that is the, I know it doesn't say Presonus here, but that is the Fire Studio Firewire, can't even say it properly. It's their Firewire driver. And I'm currently working with them at the moment with a support ticket to try and get this to work. Now, what happens when you install software on your Mac at the moment? They've got this thing called an SIP, which is like a security feature. And sometimes when you install, you have to go into this thing called security and privacy. And then you have to go and click the padlock, and then you have to click allow, and it will install the software. This is kind of the nightmare that we've been putting up with since High Sierra. But what it's actually making this even worse now is you've got this disabled software stuff. So even though you've got manufacturers writing software for drivers and things like that, it's kind of getting tripped up with some of the Mac security. So we can see, what I'm showing you here is we can see there's pain already, because it's early days. So there'll be guys in the chat probably throwing their synths at the screen right now because they know more about stuff than I do. But yeah, look, Firewire, let's talk about Firewire for a sec, because it's kind of, it's a bugbear for me. Let me just grab, I showed you guys this last, I'm sure. So to get Firewire to work on the new Lightning adapters, you guys are going to need to do a couple of things. So first thing you're going to need is a Apple Firewire to Lightning adapter, which is the Lightning 1 adapter, and then you're going to need a Lightning 1 to a Lightning 2 adapter. Okay, am I saying the right one? Is it Thunderbolt or Lightning? I always forget which one it is. I'm probably saying the wrong one. It's probably Thunderbolt, right? Sorry. Trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so you need the two dongles. Now, I want to show you something, because back on the Mac, if I go back into here, you'll find this really, really interesting actually. I'll connect these back together again, and I'll actually plug this in to my mixer. The mixer's turned on. And I'm just going to plug this back in. Hopefully it works. And the wrong way. Sorry, I just unplugged it so I could show you the dongles. This goes into a spare port on the back of the Mac Mini. And bang, it's on. Now, I'm just going to quickly close this and run this again, because it might actually generate the report differently. If I go into Firewire, look at that. Studio Live 1602 mix is actually discovered. Isn't that interesting? So it actually sees the mixer. It shows the Presonus mixer there. But if we go back into Ableton and we go into our audio inputs, there is no Presonus mixer there. Do you get it? So these are some of the little problems that we are experiencing.
And it doesn't work if you reboot Ableton up?
Oh, trust me, I've tried everything. I've tried rebooting, I've tried reinstalling, uninstalling. Yeah, I've been through the whole kit and caboodle with it all. So yeah, look, so we'll just talk briefly about Firewire, right? So people are probably going to say, but Firewire, it's really quite an old, antiquated bit of hardware protocol. Should we kind of just drop it? Well, yeah, it's a good point, but it's a couple of $1,000s worth of mixer. What do you expect me to do? Just like chuck it out on the verge for the council to pick it up? Like, it's worth money. We can't just keep buying stuff just because a company decides to drop it. So I think we have to kind of, musicians aren't exactly getting paid at the moment either. So we kind of have to sort of have something. Now, for me, the question might be, well, why don't I just run it on an older Mac? Well, the answer is, yeah, of course I can. I've got other Macs here and I can do that. So it's not like the end of the world for me. And as I said before, my MX1 works beautifully on the new Apple Silicon, so that's fine. But it's still something that needs to be discussed. Like, it's not always possible. You might have a Firewire audio interface. There's plenty of them, like the Focusrite's ones are out there. They had Firewire. There's heaps that are still out there, and people have got them, right? So what are they going to do? Just sell them, throw them in the bin? You know, we don't really want this, do we? So, what do you guys think so far?
This is a bit of a question. You said you've gone from Firewire to Lightning. Was it correct then?
Yeah. What's the correct? I think it's Thunderbolt. I forget the name. I think it's Thunderbolt, right?
That's Lightning.
Yeah.
Thunderbolt's like.
Yeah. It's Thunderbolt. It's like USB-C.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay, I'm with you now.
I always get confused with the two.
Have you actually gone from Firewire to USB into the Mac Mini?
I haven't, because I actually don't know of I haven't actually tried a USB to Firewire adapter yet. I haven't been able to find one. So there might be one out there. The only one that I've been able to find that's been available, to purchase is the Firewire to Thunderbolt one. Yeah. What are the guys in the chat saying? Wigoo's saying he still uses Firewire to his Focusrite Sapphire. So there you go. I was right about Focusrite. Max saying he's got loads of Firewire cables. So, I mean, look, basically Apple has pretty much dropped Firewire. And Apple were pretty much the company that invented Firewire, if I remember rightly. And Sasquatch is saying there aren't any Firewire to USB. There you go. That might be why we can't find them. There you go.
Well, they are. That answers that then.
Yeah. It is a different protocol. So, so one of the benefits of actually, if you rewind the clock a bit, one of the reasons why that 1602 mixer was such a good mixer on my previous Mac was because it didn't use any USB ports up. And whenever it was communicating digitally to the Mac, it was purely the only device sitting on that Firewire. You can daisy chain Firewires, right? It was the only device sitting on that. So it actually had a really, really good low latency. I never had any clicks or pops or anything like. It was a really, really good setup. So I've always enjoyed the fact that the Firewire kind of separately doesn't interfere with anything on your USB hub. You know how you get, if you put too many USB devices on computers, they can kind of lag and things like that. So you don't get those problems. But Synth Addict said that Sony invented Firewire. Okay, there you go. I knew that Apple were pretty much the big embracers of Firewire, but I didn't actually know if they invented it or not. But yeah, it doesn't really matter anyway. But I think the thing that we're trying to sort of show here is the Apple Silicon. It's got some really good, promising things about it, but there's some really, really bad things. And we've also got to remember too, how long ago was it that I did that video about Catalina? Do you remember the OS Catalina video I did? I think it was Michael B's in chat. You might remember it too. Was that a year or two ago? So do you remember Apple have basically ripped all the 32-bit software from beneath us, and so anyone who wanted to go across to Catalina all of a sudden found out that all their VSTs that were running on 32-bit weren't working, and they're kind of doing it again with the silicon chip. So I feel that Apple at the moment are doing a lot of heavy lifting in the last couple of years with us, and so we as music producers probably are getting hammered pretty bad with this, so we need to check into it.
So Have you found any plugins that don't work on your M1 then? Obviously, your mixer is having issues, but actually, any plugins that you use normally, any plugins that are not working, either through Rosetta or
yeah. So far so good. So far so good. Now I haven't got anywhere near the plugins that I used to have set up back again, because I decided, instead of going from one Mac and using my backup and restoring it to the new one, I thought, no, this time I'm actually going to do a clean install and I'm just going to put everything back on as I need it. And the reason why I decided to do it that way is because of what we were showing before, with all those websites that were saying, hang on a minute, we're not quite there yet. And so those sort of people I've actually stayed away from, and I've only put VSTs on through companies like, for example, Eventide. I've put theirs on because they've said, yep, we've written it for, it works on the Big Sur operating. Now, because they're saying it works on the Big Sur, it doesn't necessarily mean it works on Silicon. It might be it works on Rosetta. Do you know what I mean? But they're saying that it works on the Big Sur operating system. So, yeah, that could be an Intel-based, thing, but it still works. So yeah. I've put the the black hole.
That's not, yeah.
And I think that's what the Roland Cloud is kind of doing at the moment, because I have noticed that when I was showing the JD800 last week or the week before, whatever it was, we were still getting pretty decent CPU percentages, and that's kind of inherent of the Intel, hogginess. And I believe once they actually do lift the code over to the Silicon, there's a lot of the CPU usage issues that we've got with some of these heavy type Roland Cloud type VSTs will probably improve. It's kind of me just crossing my fingers that's what's going to happen, because knowing a little bit about how the kernel compiler works on the two different platforms, it should, if they do their coding properly. But yeah. Yeah, Big Sur is Mac OS 11, 11. Well, the one I'm running is 11.2.3, but it's OS 11, not OS 10. So for those wondering what OS version it is. So when you do see, if you do go buy yourself a new Mac, and then you start downloading stuff from all the different hardware vendors and stuff, make sure that you look, if you've got Big Sur, make sure that you look for anything that's OS 11, not OS 10. So that's a good point that Native Verse brought up in the chat. So just highlight it there. Now, I do kind of want to talk about migration as well, because migration is kind of the other side of it, right? It's not so much about does everything work. We kind of also need to talk about, well, how, when you actually set up a new computer, one of the things you'll probably find is that you might say to yourself, it's a bit like setting up a new studio. It's a physical space. You might think yourself, actually, this is a good opportunity for me to sort of clean up the way I organize my operating system. And a couple of things I've noticed too is the way the Finder, like it's like the file browser system in Mac, the way that works on Big Sur is slightly, I actually think it's slightly better than what it used to do. When you're sort of copying and pasting and moving files and renaming and things like that, there seems to be a lot more intuitiveness to the way they've. I definitely think there's some improvements in there. If you're changing the name of a file, it used to get annoying where you'd click on it and sometimes it would open it up, where you had to time the 2 clicks. Do you know what I mean? So it would actually open up the editable file name, and things like those sort of things used to do my head in with the way that the older Mac operating systems work. So now it looks like they've sorted a lot of some of those little annoying things out, which is good. So when you're thinking about doing this, maybe it might be a good opportunity for you to actually migrate your file structure across, and you might have a sample structure, you might have a file structure. You're going to have a look at how you're going to work with this issue with the USB-C/Thunderbolt connections or lack thereof in these, because I mean my Mac Mini's only got 2 Thunderbolt connections on it, right? It's got 2 USB connections as well, and some of the laptops only actually have 2 Thunderbolt connections and no USB connections on it. So you're going to have to think about, right, I'm not going to have a massive, huge amount of hard drive space storage inside it because they're not offering much. I think the most you can get, I think, is 2 terabytes at the moment. So I have to connect external, right? So how am I going to do this? Am I going to do it on a NAS system across a network, which has got problems? Or am I going to do it with, these kind of things, these little memory type hard drives? This one's like a SATA type SSD type one. And so what I do, I think I showed it briefly before, is I didn't actually have a lot stored on my physical Mac operating system before. I had pretty much all of my music stuff stored on an external drive. And that external drive, which is it's this one here, Rand's data, that actually is also backed up into my backup regime, which is, I don't know what's thinking about that at the moment, but yeah, that's also backed up. So the actual local hard drive on the Mac is backed up to that backup drive plus the Rand's data. So I'm actually backing up both. And then I also have another system where I back up. I do have NAS storage in my network here. So yeah, so it's an opportunity where you're going to have a few issues where you're going to have to think about what you're going to do with your files. And some people are going to think, nah, this is just crap. I can't have 2 friggin' ports because I've got 16 hard drives and I've got samples on one. And I don't know what you guys have got out there, but there's going to be people that are just going to go, nah, this is absolute crap. We can't do this. So interesting to know what the chatties are saying, because I definitely think this is a consideration. So Oleg saying migration is a pain. Yeah, sometimes. Oh, okay. I didn't mention about the iLock dongle. So that's something. Just remind me to talk about that again in a sec, because we do need to talk about dongles. Yeah. Anyone in the chat kind of worried about the file storage issues and the minimal sort of amount of ports that these things have got? Is anyone kind of, or if you guys are just going to go with these USB hubs and you're just going to go crazy? I know it will definitely take a couple of USB hubs, so there's no problems there. I just think that we are kind of restricted. And I think it's not Apple's fault. I think it's actually those ARM processors actually have a physical limit on how many of those Thunderbolt connectors they can have on it. So yeah. While you guys are answering that in the chat, let's talk about the dongles for a sec. So the news we saw on ProSynth Network, was it yesterday? Was ProSynth Network yesterday? I can't remember. And I think they also talked about it on Sonic State. They were talking about how Cubase are now going away from using a dongle, right, for their software authentication. And when I set up my studio, I had the recarpeting. I don't know if you guys remember, I actually lost my iLock dongle. It was the worst thing ever. I lost it. And I don't know if you guys, if you've got iLock dongles, but yeah, if you've got all your VST licenses sitting on there and you lose it, it's a massive, massive pain in the ass. And I was literally about to travel down the path of ordering a new one, which is not cheap. And yeah, luckily I found it, and so all is good again. But one of the things, I guess, that made the migration from one computer to another is actually the fact that I had that dongle, because it made all those licenses instantly just reconnect, and I didn't have to worry about activating or anything like that. It was actually pretty easy. So there's a plus with that, right? So just remember, just park that idea in the back of your head, and let's go back to what Cubase have just announced, and let's talk about that for a minute. So is it a good idea to get rid of these physical authentication dongles, or is it not? That's kind of the question I want to ask you guys. Andy, what do you think? And I know you're a massive software guy, but do you have one of these?
Well, I have a version of Cubase installed on here. It's a genuine, original copy. It's Cubase Elements 8, and I've never upgraded it since. It's a fairly stripped down thing, but it's got more on it than I think I would ever need. And all it had was a key code that was included with the pack. So I didn't have a dongle. I mean, way back in Atari ST days, I did have a dongle with Pro 24. You had to stick it inside of your Atari ST into the cartridge port, and that always irritated me. When I went over to Cubase, I have to confess it was a cracked copy of Cubase way back in the day. Very naughty of me, but it was. I mean, we again, this was mentioned on Pro Synth Network last night that even professional studios are running cracked copies of Cubase. But the point is that it set me up as a Cubase user. So when I came over to the PC, I've bought Cubase for the PC since, and I've bought it. I've bought it. I think twice. I've bought Cubase now for computers. So they have actually had custom from me. I've not bought a more modern version. Maybe I might when I get my new computer. I'm not doing anything. I'm not upgrading any software of any kind until I've got a better machine. And I've said that before. So sometime, perhaps in a couple of months' time, there'll be a new computer, and it'll be worthwhile doing. But until then, no. As to the software authentication, I would have thought dongles belong in the past, don't they? They're just taking up ports that other things can use. No, I don't think they're a good idea.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather anything other than dongles. Thanks very much.
That's a good point, Andy. Taking up ports, because that is really going to be an issue now, isn't it? Especially if you've only got two Thunderbolt connections and you have to put two USB hubs into that. And I believe there's a limit to the amount of USBs that they can run off one of those Thunderbolt connections anyway. So, yeah, they're literally, those USB ports are like gold now, aren't they? And us synth people, we've got all these things that want to be connected with USB. We've got, MIDI things, we've got audio things, we've got,
They'll tend to run happily off a powered USB hub, though, won't they? And I think that's one of the reasons, perhaps, why they've reduced the number of physical ports on, say, something like your Mac Mini. But it does seem like a strange way to go. I mean, I would have thought at least 4 was a minimum on any machine. How many is actually on the Mac Mini? How many USBs does it have? Was it just the 2?
So there's 2 USBs. Actually, I've got a graphic. Let me show you the graphic, because I took a photo when I had these on my kitchen bench of the 2 side by. Oh yeah, here it is. I hope I don't crash the stream doing this.
Yeah,
Last time I did
think you've shown these, but see them again.
So you can see there's the old Mac Mini. That's a 2012 on the right. Look at all the connectivity on that.
Yeah.
Now the big holes down the bottom are air vents, so don't worry about those. So on the one on the right, you actually had an SD card reader, you had a microphone and a headphone socket, you had 4 USBs, you had I think it's a Thunderbolt connection, but I think it was actually more like a DVI DisplayPort type thing. You had HDMI, you had Firewire, and an Ethernet, and then power. And then on the new Mac Mini, this is the latest silicon one, you've got Ethernet, 2 Thunderbolts, 1 HDMI, 2 USBs, and I think they're USB 3s, and still, God knows how, there's a headphone port on an Apple product.
Wow.
I was literally, I fell over myself when I saw that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but there's actually a speaker there's actually a little speaker in there as well. It's exactly the same size, so that was interesting as well. But anyway, there you go. Yeah, they're saving a stack of money on there. But look, the Mac Mini for me is all I need in terms of music production. I'm not a massive user of VSTs, as you guys know. I'm a hardware guy, so all I really need is I just need to do the mastering and the mixing and that sort of stuff in Ableton. Mind you, though, I do the odd VST song. I published one the other day. So yeah, Richard Groltz has said
it's a good
something.
track that, Rance. I really enjoyed it. So I will say that now. If anybody hasn't heard Ranzy's track, it was really good, but really good. And I like the video as well. It's quite poignant, very poignant.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. I think I mentioned it, that when I wrote that track, I set myself a few tasks, and they were kind of challenging tasks. And one of them was I wanted to actually do polyrhythms, where you've got different sequences at different sort of time intervals, and they're kind of sort of looping and mixing and matching around with the way the song progressed, and it made for some interesting sort of outcomes. And it was whether it was successful or not, I'd probably say maybe not quite, but it was interesting anyway. Anyway, I just want to get to this comment here. Richard Groff said, hardware dongles might be inconvenient, but they're the only way to be truly independent of a software company. So yeah, it's a good point. And I did find that with
fair enough, yeah.
with my iLock. Because like it was one of those things that I thought, oh, thank God I've got that iLock because it's got all my licenses sitting on there. So my Eventide license, Roland, everything was sitting on there. Online registration is an absolute pain in the ass. It's one of the reasons why I don't use a lot of software, because I actually hate all that whole side of software. I just can't stand it. Yeah, so I think a lot of us are kind of traveling down the same sort of wavelength. I think we're all kind of in agreement. But yeah, I'm just interested, you guys in chat, just tell us what you think. Like I've shown you the Mac Mini, some of the issues I've had. I've shown you the physical ports on the back. Just give us a thumbs up if you think that you should still get one, or some other, maybe a rude sign or something if you're not going to get one. Tell us what you think anyway. Thumbs up for yes, I'm going to grab one, or something else for not. That'd be cool to see. How many people just quickly jump onto the chat now and do it, and we'll watch that sort of scroll on by. Just quickly enable that. So I'm just trying to run the chat at the same time. Cool. While you guys are doing that, I just thought I'd quickly grab a website up here, just to give a little plug to Dean. Here we go.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, this is really nice. You'll like this.
Okay, boom. I think we showed this the other day, but this is a little plug to Dean and his website. He's going to be on the show again next week. I think I showed this with some awesome stuff happening. Now, he's got a couple of, well, he can tell you guys in the chat, but he's got a couple of Facebook groups that he's putting together. But I just really like what he's done with his website. He's actually got links to these products that he's got, his hardware products, in action. I think it's actually really, really cool. So yeah, go check that out. I will paste the link into the chat room, and we'll definitely be checking more of him out next week. So
yeah. I spent a bit of time in there.
Thumbs down. Look at this, guys. Thumbs down. Look at this. This was the reaction, right? So thumbs down, thumbs down. Ian Cole saying he's getting an M1 Mac Mini. There you go. Ian, Foxy the Fun's got the best one so far. Sasquatch's thumbs down. Muso's thumbs up. Synthetic is 3 thumbs up. There you go. That's good. I really like that. That was even worth just doing the show just for that. Seeing a couple of funny reactions. Wagoo said maybe for the FCPX. I don't know what that is. You might need to tell me what that is, Wagoo. But more likely an Intel Mac Pro dustbin or such. FCPX. I can't remember what that is. FCPX. Anyone know what that is? Extrapolate what FCPX
do you want me to make up? I could make up an acronym if you give me a minute.
We could all come up with one. Yes. Filters. Final Cut Pro X. Right, okay. Yep, right. Final Cut Pro X. Right. I don't use Final Cut Pro. I don't use my Mac for video editing. Sorry to any of you guys who love your Macs for video editing. I find that the Windows platform is far, far, far superior for video editing because it's cheaper to build a machine with decent NVIDIA graphics cards and things like that. It's so much easier.
There'll be people coming after you with knives now, Rands.
That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. Actually,
you are. Yeah, absolutely you are. Well, do you know, it's funny because
I don't know. People get
admit, though, I actually don't
Sorry, say
like,
again, Darren.
You go, Darren.
I said I don't know about in this day and age. People get cancelled for having their own opinion if it's not doesn't follow the follow the rest of everyone.
Prescribed line. Yeah.
Well, they have to run away to a different country and sever themselves from a family, and then go on a show with a big, massive TV personality to have an opinion. But I mean, let's not go there. Yeah, no. In terms of
Careful.
in terms of video editing,
You'll get slung in the tower.
in terms
You're
of
still part of the Commonwealth.
we are literally part of the Commonwealth, so we still allege to the Queen. Anyway, in terms of video editing, I actually don't really like using Adobe Premiere, but I do use Adobe Premiere. But I actually am finding that I'm slowly starting to move across to DaVinci Resolve, which is actually a Blackmagic design software product now. Well, it didn't used to be, but they are now, I believe. So yeah, so in terms of code that runs faster, Adobe seemed to write this really bloaty, slow, crappy code, and I don't know if it's done on purpose like that, but I don't know if you've ever loaded Photoshop and it sits there with that little splash screen and it's got all these things scrolling underneath it, and you could go get yourself a coffee and come back. You could have the fastest machine ever and it still does it. And I just absolutely hate how that stuff, that Adobe have that sort of crap. And yeah, I just wish it would go away. I'll guarantee you, once they bring out that silicon version of Photoshop, it's still going to do it. It's like, maybe they just don't want to upset people that are used to going and getting their coffees when they've clicked load Photoshop. I don't know. But yeah.
They might have like a coffee time tab.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, have it done instantly or do it by coffee time.
Yeah. I mean, I've done about 200-300 videos on YouTube. When you've done that many videos, you kind of start to get to groan and moan about some of the software idiosyncrasies, right? So, yeah. I did try Final Cut Pro a while ago. I don't know how many years ago it was, but I think it would have been probably 2012, so a while ago. So I can't really comment about whether it's good or bad. I just find when I said that I'd prefer to use Windows, it's mainly because the hardware acquisition part of it for performance is far, far more affordable economically for me. So that's why. And haven't we digressed? We're now talking about video editing. Yeah, so let's go to what some of these guys are talking about. Mac owners understand Ranz's statement for sure. Maybe that's sarcasm. You know, Wagoo was saying, I think the last Adobe thing I used apart from Flash and Acrobat Reader was Adobe Suite Sister. Yeah, so you actually probably haven't tried it for a while, which is probably a good thing actually for you. Luckily you. I have to use it in my job, so yeah. I use Photoshop in my job because we have a photography business. So unfortunately that's the world that we live in. Yes, there are the photo editing pieces out there, but Photoshop is pretty much the standard that's out. So yeah. Right, how did we go? We've got a couple more topics we can add if we can quickly squeeze them in. What can I do? Do you guys want to hear what here's a little treat for you. Do you guys want to hear what a DeepMind 12 and a proper Bucket Brigade Delay MN3009 chip sounds like together? Am I getting at a point here? Darren might see, when is Darren's going to pick it up? Darren, behind you, behind all that stuff, you've got a synth that starts with a J. And it's very famous.
No, you think I've got a synth. Yeah, I'm there.
Well, you used to have a synth that started with a J.
Yes.
So you know it very well, right? Okay.
I do. I know.
All right. So why don't we have Darren's face showing? Because then I can sneak over here. And I just don't know if I've got sound. I should have sound. Let me know if
amazing, Rans.
It's not playing yet. Don't worry. Let me know if you can hear this.
All right.
Did that come through?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, am I playing a Juno or am I playing a DeepMind 12? I'll have to turn my
stick
camera.
your neck out there, Darren. Stick your neck out. What do you reckon?
Don't forget, YouTube's compressing that, so it's not going to sound quite as... I think it's using the DeepMind 12 with the modular.
I am. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's deep. You have
I
to
showed
admit.
a photo of it earlier.
I did. Yeah, I pretty much gave it away during the week. You have to admit that it
I
does
didn't
sound.
see that.
That does sound pretty close to a Juno, doesn't it?
I don't think... There's no hisses. There's not quite the same hiss behind it, is there?
I'll get out of hiss. Don't worry about that.
I can't hear that. I can't hear the hiss.
Here we go. Get the camera happening. Get some lights happening. There we go. Sorry, I just had to turn the camera on while I was doing that, guys. Oh, it's upside down. Hey, what happened to my studio? What the hell?
Hey.
What's going on?
Wow.
Oh my goodness me.
That's cool.
Boop, there you go, fixed.
Looks good like that. Oh, oof, oh.
Sure, does that make
I
you...
was feeling a bit seasick.
Everyone get a bit vertigo just then, didn't they?
Look at that. He's got his Instagram house plant there ready and everything. Look, oh, hey.
So this
Take
is-
a screenshot of that now, Rans.
So this is the feedback modules chorus that I've shown on my mailbag video. It's sitting there. And I've actually got the output, just the mono output of the DeepMind going straight into that, and then that's going through. There's no effects except for the chorus. And you can try different patches, I guess. We could try... In fact, actually go back to that patch, that one. I kind of adjusted the... There we go. Let's turn it off. So this is what the DeepMind sounds like. Still sounds nice, but then you add that famous bucket brigade delay. And it just, yeah, for me, that is just an absolute thing of beauty, that sound. And people are probably going to laugh at me, but I find nothing is actually ever as close as that. Not even the digital emulations, not even the tail chorus module in your software, nothing is as close as that unless you actually physically have that MN3009 bucket brigade delay chip. Or you actually have a Juno. In my case, I've got an MKS70, which has got the same chorus circuit in as well. So that's why I know it so well. Once you actually hear it for real, like Darren, that's why I use Darren as his ears. It was pretty close, wasn't it, Darren? I mean, I think if I was to load...
Close, yeah. It's hard to say over.
There's only...
Over YouTube.
Yeah, there's only... Sorry, I'll get you to have a little chat about it, but there's only one thing that I'm not doing quite right, which is probably why you're not getting that... Yeah, oh my God, that's it. And that is, with the Juno, there's a kind of mix between the wet and the dry signal, whereas that is pure wet. So that's going to make a little bit of a sonic difference on that. But and obviously I'll play with that a little bit. But this is just real basic stuff. So you know your Juno. How long have you had your Juno for?
Oh, wow. Oh, I don't know, 20 years. Maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. The only thing is, with that module, you can't, like on the Juno, you can hit the two keys so you get both.
You can't, no. Yeah. But
so you can't do that.
You know the good news
That's the
is?
thing it misses.
The circuit in that module is going to enable you to do it. So I've actually written back to feedback modules. Now these guys are in Bucharest, and did I say that is Bucharest in Romania? Is that correct? I always forget. So those guys are probably Google translating my email right now as I speak. But but yeah, I've actually asked them if they could actually make a more sort of like a pro version of that module. And there's a few things I've asked them to do. And one of the things, Darren, is to actually enable it so that you can actually have the two 1 and 2 type choruses going at the same time, among a few other things as well. wet and dry mixing and things like that. So why did I use the DeepMind 12? See if anyone can work it out. Is there
well,
We'll go with Andy.
Yeah, it was supposed to be based on the Well, it was supposed to be based on the Juno. I mean, I've never ever, when I played a DeepMind 12 a few times, and I've never felt like I was playing a Juno. There's a superficial sort of resemblance in the sort of the panel graphics and the sliders, but it sounds like its own. I mean, I know it's a one oscillator with a sort of second oscillator, isn't it? So it bears some similarity. So I'd have thought that was as good a reason as any. I mean, if you take off the DeepMind's own internal effects and stick it through that, then you're probably getting as close as you can get, really.
That's exactly right. So the
interesting thing, here's an interesting one that you might try, that might even be even closer, is I know that you've got an SH01A.
Mm-hmm.
So sticking the SH01A through it and see how that sounds, because the voice architecture of the SH is pretty similar to the Juno. So that you set it into your 4-note poly mode, you might come up with something that's very Juno-esque, sticking it through that lovely pedal, that lovely module. Yeah, certainly your demo of it made me think,
yeah,
more money.
So let's get a little bit sort of nerdy, because this is what we like to do, right? I want to get a bit nerdy about this. Okay,
getting nerdy.
Let's get
nerdy.
Let's get nerdy.
Really?
Okay, so there's a couple of little kind of things here. First one is the choice of the DeepMind 12. Andy picked it right off the bat, and that is that if you turn off all the effects and you just basically use that as a single oscillator synth, and you use the second oscillator as a sub-oscillator like the original Juno is, you're going to get a Juno sound of that synth, because it literally is modeled after a Juno. So that side of it is completely, I'm happy with. I don't have any qualms about it. But if you want to get really perfectly close to a Juno, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have that wet and dry mixed together with the chorus, and that'll even get even closer sounding, because at the moment I've just got it going straight through the module and it's coming out the other side wet, and I kind of feel it just needs a little bit of that wet and dry mix. Now, Wagoo asked, is it exactly the same? Well, the Juno chorus is a BBD chip, Bucket Brigade Jade chip, made by Panasonic originally, and it's called the MN3009. And there's a company called Xvive who are replicating these chips, and they are doing it electrically exactly the same. So they are literally replicas of these chips. They do exactly the same. They've got the same phase on it. I think it's 100, if I remember rightly, 128 phase or something like that, whatever it is. It's got the same, it's exactly the same. Now, do you guys remember when TC Electronics brought that guitar pedal out that we're calling a June 60 and making it try and, this is going to... Yeah. So they didn't even use the right Bucket Brigade delay chip on there. They used a 3007, which is completely different. It didn't even sound like it. And that's the reason why, because they weren't using the right gear. So you kind of just have to, get things, These things might not seem like big decisions to the synth manufacturers out there, but they are massive decisions when we have trained ears. Like if we know what a Juno sounds like, we know what a Juno chorus sounds like, you're never going to get it right.
Ears.
Yeah. We will know if, well, laugh about it, but you would definitely know.
We do though, Darren, and so do you, and you know it.
Corrosive abusers are saying that I could use a mult and a mixer. Yes, I could. So, yeah, like I said, I could. I haven't set this up properly, but I just thought I'd give you guys a taste of it anyway. So, why don't I just go and buy a Juno if I love them so much? Well, because they're bloody expensive and they're very rare to come across them where I live in one of the most remote cities in the world. And if I do come across one, some guy wants, and he can insert himself onto my scam segment. So, it's basically, I've got as much as I can in my affordability range of getting to a Juno as I possibly can. I've got a MKS70, which is not a Juno. It's a Super JX. It's got pretty much very similar sort of architecture to a Juno. I've got Roland System 8s, which is all their ACB emulations of Juno, and they're pretty bloody close, let me tell you. I've got friends that have got Junos here locally, and I've gone and played with them. I know exactly how they sound with your headphones on. So, yeah. Why is it such a big thing for me? I don't know, I just love the sound of a Juno. I always have. It's just like some people like digital synth, some people like FM synth, some people like analog synth. It's just a personal thing. Some people hate Junos, so they think they're very basic and uninspiring. But you know, for me, it's just it has that kind of, maybe there's a romantic part of it from my childhood where, you know, I used to like the sounds of Junos in records. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who can explain it?
They sound very nice. There you go.
I think the chorus.
You don't need any more than that.
The chorus is
They just sound lovely.
For me, it's the chorus. The chorus is what makes that sound. It's without that chorus, it doesn't sound as nice.
It also sounds. It might sound like a dumb thing to say, but like you said, when you take the chorus off the Juno, it's really thin. It's a really thin sound, and I'll say, odd enough, for a polysynth, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So that nice thin sound gives that chorus something to work with. It gives it something where you can hear it, you can move it, and it's just joyous. There's something really, really beautiful about the Juno sound. You know, the Juno 106, Juno, like Darren's Juno 6. I mean, it's funny, of all the ones, I'd be quite happy to give house room to the Juno 6 because who needs memories on it? It's so quick to move up and down. You can get around it really quickly. Oh, I'm very envious of your Juno 6, Darren. I really am.
I am too. I'm jealous as hell. If
it goes missing,
yeah,
don't come looking over here.
It'll be either this Aussie or this guy from Sheffield, or both of us at the same time. You hold the door, Andy. We're sneaking out the window.
Shh. It's all right. He's got his Pringles. He's busy.
He's got his Behringer Pringles.
When it's a lot better later in the year, I can pop over to your area and I'll bring it with me, so you can.
Do you know what, Darren? It's the situation is stupid. I can drive 40 miles to work and stand in front of 32 children in a classroom, but I can't drive 40 miles over the hills to Manchester and be with one person playing with synthesizers. Mental, innit?
It's absolutely.
But that will change. It will change fairly soon.
Yeah, it is mental. Sasquatch has said.
We'll meet up in each other's studios.
Can I just quickly get this out before it's?
We'll have to do that, Darren. We will. So hang on a minute, Rans. We're making a date here. Stop it. Me and Darren are showing some love, right? So yeah, we'll make it. We'll make it happen.
And it's not going to be on the park bench with a bastel.
All right.
Well, what you do in your private time is your business, but don't bring your bastel over here.
Guys, we're actually streaming.
Well, you can actually. It might be fun.
Sasquatch has said it's like the ensemble on a string machine. I absolutely agree. I love ensembles on string machines. I do. I love them.
Yeah,
and
right.
they're basically choruses too, aren't
Yeah,
they?
absolutely right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You can never give enough ensemble. Jeez. Yeah, it's showing my age, aren't I?
That's great for that.
Yeah, see, corrosive abuse is saying if you've got a reamper and a couple of DIs, the dimensions C, whilst different, sounds amazing. Yeah, look, I've got some.
Well, they cost the earth.
I've got a Boss. Is it the MD 500 pedal? Yeah, I think it's it's either the DD 500 or the MD. One of the two anyway. It's got the dimension algorithms in it. It actually sounds really, really good, but it doesn't quite get there. It just doesn't quite have this. There's harmonics and there's kind of phasey sounds and things that those BBD chips do that digital can never ever get right, and you know it when you listen to it.
Those Dimension D and Dimension C chorus units, the 19-inch rack things with 4 buttons on or however many, they still fetch. You know, they command high prices. You know, they're not cheap. They're really not cheap.
Yeah, they do. And didn't some company that starts with B do one recently? Through a different label,
yeah,
Clark Technics or something?
Yeah, Clark Technica might have done that. It's actually, I have no idea how good they are. If anybody knows how how close or how accurate those Clark Technic recreations of the Dimension D, Dimension C units are. I'd be really interested to know.
I've heard they're not that.
Sorry,
I've
Darren.
heard they're very noisy. I've heard they're very noisy.
Well, the Dimensions were, yeah.
Well, you were saying before
Yeah,
you like the
but
noise.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's. I've just heard what people have been saying about them. They've been doing, you know, comparing. I like noise.
Sounds like you got a snake in your studio.
Well, Wagoo's just saying
Hey,
I have
leave
the
it
Clark Technic Bucket Brigade 320 rack unit, and he likes it. It's not quite a Juno chorus though. Well, interesting, Wagoo. Thank you. That's good stuff. Native VS,
yeah.
he's always good. There was a comparison on Amazona DE. You can have some fun German reading time there. Thanks, Native. Yeah.
How much was the DVD?
Ja, ich muss mehr Deutsch lesen.
Wagoo? How much was it, out of curiosity? Because I thought it was a bit pricey, if I remember rightly. I mean, obviously it's not as pricey as the original Dimension D units, but I still thought it was a bit pricey. And as a second question to that is, how accurate is it to the original? Because those things are scattered all over records.
That's always the issue, isn't it?
Mm. Yes.
I mean, it's how much was it?
He hasn't answered yet. We've got to wait 5 minutes. He's in Europe. It's got to go through the Brexit gate. Dimension
it
D
could take forever.
Dimension D does have a lot less noise than the Juno Chorus. That is something that. Look, I never really liked the noise in the Juno Chorus. Actually, it used to annoy me. So I'm actually quite happy for it to not be there, because okay, we're just looking it up. You type it. You type it, fella. You type it. Type away. Now I want to.
We'll give you time, Dan. We'll give you time.
There was one other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about quickly, but while he's coming up. So do you guys remember I was showing this the SEO2 this thing the this is not a plug.
Interesting little box.
Yeah.
There we go. Focus, you little bugger. Okay, so
it's done it.
Why is that so good? And why did I get it? I mean, look. Okay, so here's the thing. What does it do? What it does is you get your SEO2 and you look at the tiny little bloody knobs on this thing, and all of these knobs, most of these knobs here are digital, so they actually talk to a processor, and it's actually very high resolution. There's no issues with that. So they're actually quite a well-made synth in that sense. But then if you start putting your filter through an overdrive system or that sort of stuff, you will not get that granularity when you're adjusting your filter knob on this. It's too small. So the first issue you've got with an SEO2 is that you just can't get some of those little beautiful sort of positions on your filter knob. So the first thing this thing does is it brings a analog or CV controlled filter knob to your SEO2 because it uses CV. So it's completely analog, there's no digital. Not only that, it's nice and big, so you can actually get more control out of it. So you might think, whoopie-doo-dah, that's not the greatest thing. Well, it is. For me, it is anyway. But what else it does is it actually brings in this high-pass drive circuit in here, which is so dirty. It's a freaking amazing little, forget about the filter knob. Just put it through that drive. It's so cool. And then it brings a whole bunch of other cool things into, instead of you having to use the connectors on the back of the SEO2, you've got it all on the top, and you can then interface with your Eurorack and stuff like that. So I've really enjoyed this. It was very inexpensive. It was about 100 US. Sorry, 100 US for that. And I thought it's really well made. It's literally made like anything that Studio Electric make are really good. So yeah, I don't know if who in chat or here has a SEO2, and just let us know.
Well, while they're answering, Native VS has come up with the answer to the Clark Technic Dimension C question, and it was £130 from Digital Village.
That's actually really cheap. I didn't actually thought it was more than that. Yeah. Okay. That's not as bad as I thought. 105 quid on Toman.
That might be something for my studio, actually.
105 on Toman.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got to get it.
Okay, so we're not
Yeah,
talking.
the question is, the DV probably includes the VAT. Toolman have definitely put all their prices up with X VAT, and DV are probably including it just so they've got greater clarity.
Yeah, you've got X VAT and then obviously customs charge coming in.
So one thing we're not doing, guys, is we're not talking about whether you like boutiques and how small they are and things like that, because there is actually there's a benefit to that boutique form factor, and that is that if you don't have a lot of space, like for example me, I don't have a lot of space. I don't necessarily have space.
You've got loads of space, Rans.
I mean, I could
compared to
put
me
it on
and
the
Darren,
wall.
Rans, you've got acres.
But all I'm saying is that
meters behind meters.
The boutiques are great because they don't take up any space.
I've got a door at the end of here.
He's already banging out.
He's having a dummy. He's got so much space to the left of him. It's not funny. He's not telling you the full story.
Yeah, look at that. He's got at least 300 HP there.
And look, Darren's got this big blue area. He hasn't put anything on it. Look at that behind him. You know? What's he doing?
Well, that's the wall, isn't it? That's his bad.
He's put a flow chart on it, Ran. So you're blind. That's a flow chart.
We've told you before, Darren. Start eating into your neighbour's house. You can't go wrong. Just start digging next door. They won't mind. They'll probably like it.
I might.
Okay, so Marshall has said that he owns an SEO2 and also has picked up the EXT box. So interested to know his thoughts on it. Foxy Nirvana says me, so I'm guessing he's got one as well. Human Error says the Lyra 8 has an amazing delay. Okay, cool. What sort of delay? Is it an analog delay? Is it a digital delay? Is it a ping pong delay? Tape delay? What sort of thing is it? Synth Addict is saying, be careful if you plan to use the EXT box and the SEO2 on power banks of mobile use. The EXT box is easy to fry since it doesn't have a circuit protection. Yes. So you can use the SEO2 EXT box with a Eurorack power connector as well. It is. I think it's pricey. I do agree it's pricey, but I actually think if you're a person that's going to keep your SEO2, I think it's definitely one little addition to it. That it's kind of giving your SEO2 a bit of love. It needed it. I think it needed it. I think Roland needed to give these little bit of extra things to it. I also like the fact that you've got these. I think this is like a bonus, that these connectors on the back, they are 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. And some people think that that's not a big deal, but it is. In a studio, that is a big deal to have 1/4 inch connectors. It's so handy. Max saying, I thought the thing you got for the SEO2 was a great buy. I'd have done the same, but I gave up my boutique habit and won't be going back. Yeah, I know a lot of people would have, but for me, the SEO2 is the boutique that Roland should have made. They didn't really make it because Studio Electronics kind of made it, but that's really the boutique that they should have always made. The other stuff was all just kind of pissing in everyone's pocket with that Jupiter thing that they made was stupid. Human Error says the delay consists of 2 lines of delay with a cross feedback. Yeah, it's nice. Special architecture that enables resonance between. Yeah, nice. I do like the sound of that. So it's kind of like a stereo delay. Is that what you mean by the 2 lines, or just literally just 2 lines merged together? Each line's delay time can be individually modulated from various sources. That sounds cool. The delay has a unique possibility of self-modulation. I like that. Yeah, I do. I do like the sound of that. I love all that sort of kind of funky stuff that people do. Did Marshall answer my question about what he thinks? Not yet. He's getting there. It's too early for him. Remember, guys, he may even still be up from the night before. Oh yes, Pulse. What is it with that Pulse synth and the Pulse 2 synth? Every week I just I should have bought one. I should have bought one. I don't know why I didn't buy one. I've got the Rocket.
Me too.
And it just wasn't the same thing. I don't know, have you guys ever tried the Rocket? The Waldorf one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Waldorf.
I used the original one, the original 19-inch rack. Really nice. The original Pulse was a really nice machine. Yeah, that was a long time.
Yeah, that Pulse is on so many tracks, by the way.
Is that okay? Because you've had yours for a little while now, haven't you, Darren? I remember when you got yours. It was, what was it, 2 years ago?
Well, I got no, it's longer than that, I think, because I got a Blofeld I got afterwards.
Okay, yeah, I remember when you got it anyway. Human Error is saying that you can get a Eurorack version of the EXT box. Can you? I thought you could. I thought you could actually mount this into Eurorack. I've never actually even looked. Oh my God! There you go. It actually is literally the same form factor. That'd be interesting. Let's go to these guys. It's all about the chatties now. Corrosive Abuse has got the original Pulse. Nice. Yeah, I think the original Pulse probably, for me, would be better. But yeah. I still like the sound of the Pulse too, though. And I like the form factor of the Pulse, so I think it's pretty cool. Wagoo say, I just have A01, JP08, JX03. I used to have a JU06, but sold it when they got to silly money. Yeah, I actually sold my JU06 in disgust when they brought out the JU6A or whatever it was called, because they said that they were never ever going to release anything, and they did. They completely lied to us. Remember they were saying they were limited, you know, these boutiques were limited release? Never trust that word limited. Never trust it. Take it apart on, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, you guys need to watch the next mailbag video that comes out. You'll kind of know it's to do with this EXT SEO2 box, so you'll kind of know why once you see it. It's coming out probably, well, hopefully in a couple of days when I finish editing it. Max saying he's collecting Waldorf modules now, but please don't do the same until I've got them all. Fair enough. Is that because they've stopped releasing
Nice one,
them?
Stephen.
That's because they've stopped releasing them, right?
Yeah, they have, yeah.
I don't know, you guys, why are they so big? They are massive. Like, they literally take up so much Eurorack HP. Like, there's so much. Yeah, like, I don't know if that's a thing for me.
It's Waldorf, though, isn't it?
I'm okay.
Like tanks.
I'm okay with the
if
tiny
it needs one
knobs.
screw, it'll give it the next.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know. Oh, Andy, before I forget, I was going to tell you something about your future modules that you're waiting on. The dual envelope generator. So I don't know if you ever watched my video on that, but one thing
yes, I did. Been back and watched it again.
Yeah, so you'll notice that they actually are not very snappy. They're very slow EGs, which is a good thing if you're into that sort of evolvey, sort of slow thing. But if you ever want to get to the snappy sort of side, all of your sliders are going to be right down the bottom part, and it's very, very, very finite movements. So now there is actually some light at the end of the tunnel with this. So obviously you can go and buy a different EG, like the Frequency Central one's got a great one called the System X. That's a way around it. But if you don't want to throw good money after bad, what you can do is there's going to be a guy who's literally worked out, there's a little hack you can do with the Behringer modules where you add I think it's a capacitor into it and a switch. It's literally a capacitor and a switch, and it might be a resistor to sort of protect the voltages, and the switch will be a fast to slow switch, and you literally will turn your EG from a fast to a slow, and you can actually do this mod pretty easy.
I'll have to play with them first and see how well it works. I mean, I'm surprised. I would have thought that the Roland envelopes would be fairly snappy, but I mean, I've bought it. It comes tomorrow. I mean, it'll be
original
what it
one.
is, so.
The System 100 ones weren't that snappy. No, they were actually pretty snowed. Okay. Yeah, there was a guy selling one locally the other day. $3.5 grand. I thought, like
for
original
System 100M.
Yeah, 3,500 Australian, which is pretty good. It was actually a pretty good price.
For just the one module?
No. It was a complete.
Or for a...
Yeah, it was like it had
a 5U system, a 5-unit one.
So it had oscillator,
with the
amp, filter, EG, and there was a couple of other little things in there as well. So it was like about six or seven of the modules. Pretty good value, I thought. I would love to get my hand on that. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Go back and watch Alex Ball's videos.
Oh, isn't he amazing, eh? What? Well, I mean, how lucky are we? Honestly, seriously, there are so many good YouTubers out there now. Like, it's just every week we get these fantastic videos. Like Alex's videos are just so entertaining, so well done.
He's so talented, that man. It's slightly disgusting.
Oh, I'm a fan. Like, you know, I'll be one of those people in the crowd going, Alex, we love you. That's me. That's us. Let's go back to the chatties because we can do this. Yeah, big modules, okay. Mr. Max saying he likes the big modules. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. He likes things big.
I've filled my case up with big modules now.
You're the big Behringer one. That's pretty big, isn't it?
Well, that's that 960 thing. I mean, okay, the Model D can come out and go back in its own box eventually, I suppose. But the 960 it does take it's bloody massive. I can't believe I've only had that rack a while, and I've over, you know, it's well over half full, just as it stands now.
What did we say though?
I still can't get one.
Oh yeah, Darren. Yeah, I know. I'm well fallen down it. I'm planning months ahead in my purchases for Eurorack. This month I'm gonna go right, and then next month it's gonna be the Z5000, and then the month after that I'm definitely gonna get a Platts, and the month after that I think I might be looking at, if I've saved up enough, if I've lived off beans for a month, I might be able to buy the Bessimula Ceteritas Alto, which I definitely want because it goes clang whap clang clang whap. And yeah, but I need to. The thing I really need to sort out is not the bloody modules in the rack. I need to sort out where it goes because it's still sitting on a fucking piano stool. I'm gonna take the piano out and put a table in it, and so I've got to. Yeah, it's silly.
Hey guys,
human errors going. Love the 960. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It's a fab little box. We love the 960.
We need to
have two.
We need to check to see if the auction's pipped over 18K because we haven't checked it for a while. Oh, come on.
It's not moving.
It's only, what is it, 40
Rans.
Just
put in a bid for 18.5. Put in a bid for 18.5. You know you're not going to win it, so just put it in.
Just do it. Come on.
And if you do win it, claim poverty.
It's just a bit over 30 quid. Come on. Come on, guys. What are you doing? Ah, jeez.
All these comments coming through in the chat shouting at me. Yes, guys, I know. Yes, you did warn me. Yes, I know. Right. Oh, God.
You know how lucky you got the 960, Andy? Because I've been wanting one for
Keith in Watford's telling me a Strager. Yes, I know. Just leave me alone. Leave me in peace.
Yeah, but this is what I said. This is the worst thing about modular. It's not like synth and everything, because when they bring the synth out, it's usually one synth in a year. There's thousands of modules every flipping few weeks that you keep changing your mind. You get one set.
Again, Darren, last night I was looking. Honestly, I was looking at the Z5000 effects unit, and it's just a mono in. So I was thinking, well, how do you affect different modules going into it? Then how do you affect different sound sources going? So at which point? That's when I got little mixer modules. So a little mixer module to use as a pseudo auxiliary send. Oh yeah, you're right. There's another 3 HP gone. Right, what's Marshall just said?
He needs to bid. He's got the gas propeller spinning right now. He needs to bid.
Marshall, calm down. Marshall, just sit down now. Right, get your hand off that credit card. Stop it right now.
It's too late. Is it the button? It's bidded.
Is it
19 grand.
It's putting a bid for 32,000 quid.
Tell you what, Marshall.
Enjoy your CS80, Marshall.
Jump in your Lambo. Go down to the ATM. No. Did you guys see the video that Lupop put out on the what's it called again? The black
Which
the
one?
black thing, the CS80 clone replicant.
Oh yeah, the
Stream.
Decard. He did the Decard Stream Mark II.
Yeah,
he did.
the Mark II.
Lovely,
Right?
very lovely video. Very good. A bit clinical, but very good.
I definitely think the Decard Stream Mark II is an improvement on the Mark I. So I don't know what they've done with the voice structure or if they've done anything to that, but I definitely feel, and just maybe it was just Loop-Hop being better at using it than some of the other videos I've seen, but it definitely sounded much more CS80. Maybe it was because he had the Lynch.
He could make teaspoons sound lovely.
Yeah, true. He does really good videos. But yeah, but one of the things I liked about it, because this is probably what stopped me from getting one, was the thickness of the actual box of the Mark I was actually, it's a really big chunky thing, and they've really slimmed it right down. So it's actually not bad now. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Hey guys, people in the chat, I just wanted to ask you, there's a lot of people that come onto this show every week and they actually give their free time up. And this week we've got these two gentlemen here. There's Andy and Darren. So do make sure you check out their YouTube channels, which will be links in the description. But also don't forget to give them a thumbs up, because the thumbs up isn't for me and my show. The thumbs up is to let us know that you like and support those guys as well. Because they actually do look at stuff like that. Marshall's saying, be like eating bees for the rest of my life. Yes. Well, you could sit there with your CS80 and fart like a champion at the same time as use that ribbon controller. I mean, you know, it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. How much do these things weigh? They're like about 30 pounds or something, are they?
God. The CS80 is massively heavy, isn't it? You wouldn't. You really, two people would have to carry one of those. I mean, one person probably could, but yeah, you're setting yourself up for problems later on if you do.
I just wonder if there's anyone watching
Thanks,
the
guys.
show and they're literally looking at their credit card and going, and they're looking at the auction and they're going, Hang on, let me just see if I can egg them on a bit more. Where's the mouse button? All you have to do is just go, get your mouse, right? And just type this number in here. We can just type, 18. Look at that. We could just do that, right? And then we can just go, just, I'm having fun, guys.
Do you dare add an extra penny on the end? £17,499.62.
I don't think you can, because the minimum increase is, I think you have to go up in hundreds. So you could do 18,069. But yeah, so even like 18,000 bid wouldn't work. You have to go up in 100.
It's not going to sit there though, is it? I mean, even if you stuck $100 or £100 on now, it's not going to stay at that. It's going to go up.
I'm going to make it even better for Marshall. I'm actually going to type in the address. Here we go. Here we go. So it is https:// sound, what a great name, gas.com/product. I'm typing this in manually because I actually don't have any way of cutting and pasting between Mac and Windows. Yamaha-CS-80.
Sound Gas's stand at Synthfest is always amazing. They've always got masses of old vintage kit littered all over it. I mean, last year they had I say last year it was 2019, wasn't it? But they had a Polyvox. They had countless tape echoes. They had all sorts of really strange, peculiar, weird stuff. It's one of the best stands at Synthfest, Sound Gases. I absolutely love it. And the fact that they're just down the road in Matlock is a I won't say a bonus because I've never been to it, but I mean it's nice to know that they're nearby. Not that far from you either, Darren.
I love it when you guys talk about just down the road. When you guys talk about just down the road, it's like I just almost facepalm every time, like just down the road.
Yeah, well, who knows? It is just. I mean, Matlock is what 30 miles from here. It's only 30 miles. I've been to Matlock. It's a lovely place. Oh, we like Matlock. They've got lots of nice tea
30
houses. They've got
miles
nice tea and cake.
where I am, 30 miles, I'm still
It's
in my
nowhere.
city. I'm still
It's
in
a
my
step.
same city.
Yeah, it's a step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Australia may
well,
be an
even
island, but it's a fucking massive island.
It's a humongous island. Yeah, I mean that was one of the things I wanted to show in that video, was kind of a couple of different sort of views of it, different parts of it. Yeah. Where are we getting? Yeah, I know. I had Synergy before I replaced the Mac. I had Synergy, which is like a little. If you guys are wondering what Synergy is, it's like a little bit of software that runs in the background that shares your keyboard and mouse across multiple computers. It's pretty cool. But I haven't put it on here yet because I'm worried about the silicon/Rosetta issue. So yeah, haven't done it yet, and I don't actually know if they've. I believe there's something with that project. I think they've stopped. I think the project stopped now. So I'm kind of worried about that. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. So Synth is saying, I would stick with a Deckard's Dream or at least a Deckard's voice. Yeah, that Eurorack voice seems pretty cool. Although, that might be a slippery slope. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could get the Deckard's voice and then you start thinking to yourself, oh, maybe I should get another one. Maybe I should get another one. Ah, dear. And before you know it, you've bought yourself 8 Deckard's voices. You probably should have just got the CS80 in the first place. Ah, dear. Yes, definitely. All right. What's it? Native VS is saying in Australia, EchoFix is the best place to get tape echo services. I never ever heard of that. But then again, I have heard of someone bring that up before, and I've never heard of the company, but I have heard of someone bring them up before.
Yeah, go check out their website. The website's great. They've got masses of stuff in there.
Marshall Lana is saying on Windows I use a mouse without borders. It's way awesome. No need for a KVM. Yeah, I've got KVMs here too. I could use that too. But right now everything's all very, very kind of new on that little Mac. It's a little slow build. Yeah. Anyway, right. I think we should probably wrap shop up. I did have one other thing I was going to show you guys, but yeah, we haven't got time. It's not important. We can do it next week. Okay. Topics for next week. Don't forget to send them in. Don't forget, before we disappear, that I always give this a plug because I think it's important. There is a Discord server that we run during the week. So if you want to continue the conversation, please join Discord. It's free. It's a free piece of software and no one bites. There's no advertising and it's not like stealing all your secrets like some of these other places that we hang out in. bit.ly/Ramsey Discord. And if you don't like Discord and you like the more traditional social media platforms, you can always tweet me and we can always talk on Twitter. I've been trying to sort of get into Twitter a bit more. I don't know why, if I could be bothered, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Twitter's okay still. I don't know. What do you guys think? Twitter's pretty good. I do post a few things in there. I kind of feel quite lonely in there at the moment. So join me on Twitter. Don't forget to, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on my channel because you will miss out on when we do notifications and things like that. Sometimes I do some posts in the community part as well. Thank you very much, Darren and Andy, for being on the show. You guys are always more than welcome to be on. Darren, got a track to plug for next week?
Next week, you say? Or tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, sorry, tomorrow.
Yeah, anyone like Future Sound of London?
Nah, nobody here.
Because...
Nobody here likes Future Sound of London. They're rubbish.
Right.
Really rubbish.
Well, it doesn't matter then.
Sorry, Darren.
It's the Future Sound of Manchester tomorrow. So, there you go.
There we go. There we go. All right. So don't forget to check out Darren's channel. Now, it should be a link in the description of the video. Andy, and if you've got anything coming our way on your YouTubes?
Well, I intend to, obviously, when my new modules come in, to stick them in the rack and have a play about. My major plan is to, I mean, I've not done anything with it yet, but to start using this thing here with the rack, because obviously it's got the outputs and stuff.
Did you see what he showed, Darren? You weren't looking, were you?
I looked down then.
No, he wasn't
I was looking down.
I know. I was watching Darren.
No, he didn't see that. But I'm gonna have a play about with that because obviously I've got the 960 at the minute is stuck into the Model D. So how am I going to trigger the other sort of the synth modules when they arrive? Well, I've got that. Surely that will. So I'm gonna play about with that, and if I can get anything up and running that sounds halfway decent, then I'll stick up another modular noodle if my computer will actually cope with it, because it hated the last one and had a major hissy fit and I lost it all. So just watch this space. We'll see what happens.
Just hold that thing up again, just for Darren, because he's looking at the screen. I can see. Don't look down, Darren. No, don't look down. Yeah. I can see Darren.
Don't look down.
There we go. Let's get the instant replay reaction. Go again, Darren.
Thing is, Darren, I might have to pick your brain about it though.
Whether it works or not. What I got.
Yeah.
Can you see? That's what I've got.
Ooh.
Oh, well, do you know, Darren, you were so naughty because I was really tempted to. I was thinking, should I get one of them as well? Would that be nice? Would that work?
No,
because that'll go straight into the back of my depth.
You got your 960. You're good. You got your 960. You're happy.
I got my 960.
Happy. You're
yeah,
happy.
You're right. You're right. I've got my 960. I've got the Beat Step Pro. Which, in theory, it should work. I've got all sorts of things. I mean, in theory, the MPC up here should be able to trigger. I've not even begun to even investigate that part of it yet. No. It's far too many holes to jump through. Is that so at this point? But I will.
Quick plug before we go, guys. Quickly plug. Because Robbie's in the chat room. He's got a little show coming up, I think tomorrow, where he's going to be showing off that Kodamo Essence FM. And we've been talking about that synth on this show many times. So I know he's locked himself in his room. His wife's been trying to get in, and he's not letting anyone in. He's playing with his FM right now. Lots of FM. But yeah, do check that out. Just literally click on his nickname and or just go to Pro Synth Network on YouTube or any of the socials. It'll work. It'll take you there. Anyway, guys, I think that's probably about it.
Before you go, I'll leave you on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
I'll leave you on a cliffhanger. Like I said, this blue cloth might not be here next week. Well, I hope it isn't. But you know when I've shown you the SQ1, because you're all going, oh, that's quite good. Everyone's like, the question is, what does the SQ1 go into? I'll leave you for that next week.
Okay. Well, let's not do any Volkers.
It goes into a silver box, Darren.
Let's not do any Volkers up the butt jokes because that might.
Well, does it?
That might just start a new whole meme series. Anyway, thanks everyone for being on the show, including you guys in the chat room, and we're going to catch you all next week. And if I press this button,
take care, folks.
It might pause like it always does.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
It paused. Look at that. Don't you love computers? Come on, stop pausing. There you go.